Good evening, Speed Gaming, and welcome to a special presentation of the Final Fantasy Randomizer Irongol Heavy Metal Championship. This is our hardcore evening division right here, usually held weekly. We have a special match going on as Thundercloud, I do believe, is defending his title belt for the 5th week in a row right here. It's going to be a very interesting race. Going to require just a little bit of explanation, so I'm going to kick it right over to my co-host in the booth, Falconic, for a description of everything we're about to watch. Falconic, take it away.
Hey, Dark Moon. Before I do, really good to get back into the booth with you. I think the only time we've ever been in the booth together, I think we put up one heck of a race.
Yeah,
if anyone
that
remembers.
was back during a spring tournament, wasn't it?
That was spring tournament. It was Tristal versus Wilcleosis. It was the Green Medusas of Death.
I love that race.
It was a fun one to call. Hopefully tonight's just as fun. But you nailed it. It is Saturday night Slab Masters. It's the Hardcore Irongol Championship here tonight. Thunder's, he's on a roll. This is his 5th defense of the title. I did my best to come up with something tonight that is going to throw him off his game. So what we have for you tonight is something completely new. We're going to be utilizing a hack called Deep Dungeon. It was written and created by Pink Puff. You might recognize some other work. I believe he was the one that also did Final Fantasy -1, if you ever played that. What this is it's going to take Canaria Castle, and it's going to morph Canaria Castle into a 53-floor dungeon. All right? All the towns are going to be somewhere along those floors, and we'll kind of get to that a little bit as we go. But as you make your dive, not only do the enemies get harder, but you're going to find better and better gear as well. To make this a little bit more predictable, we did not shuffle much. A lot of what you're going to see tonight is vanilla. You're going to see vanilla enemy scripts. You're going to see vanilla enemy spells. So that kind of gives you an idea of what to expect along the way. For instance, if you're not caught up with vanilla, you're going to quickly learn tonight that frost wolves, argoyles, sandworms, sorcerers, man-cats, these are the most deadly things you can see along the way. They've got frost, fire 2, crack. Sorcerers are going to have trance and death touch. Man-cats are going to have fire 2. So you're going to want ribbons. And to help out, Pink Puff put ribbons throughout the dungeon along the way, roughly every 10 floors or so. You're not guaranteed to find them. The runners that are going to gamble tonight to try to speed their way along, they might miss it. They might not get every ribbon out there. So keep an eye out for that. The tail will be loose somewhere in the dungeon. And either before the tail is found or after, or even on the same floor sometimes, is going to be Bahamut. Other than that, there are no key items. So it's about as straightforward as you can get. The problem is, Dark Moon, I don't know how much you know about vanilla scripts, but Chaos, he's got a spell that could ruin a couple people's nights. Do you happen to know what that might be?
Trying to remember off the top of my head, I'm sure it's one of the instant deaths, Bane or Zap or Crack.
He certainly has that, but that's not the one we're worried about.
What are we worried about, sir?
We're worried about the fact that Chaos could have up to 500% health. And when Chaos has up to 500% health, the worst spell you could possibly see in the game is Cure 4.
Yeah.
And he's got Cure 4.
Like
So you're going to see the Luke and the Slow 2 and all that. Go ahead.
I was going to say, I think you really nailed something particularly special about this. We take for granted a lot of what the randomizer does. Like, oh, we're making it more difficult. We've cranked up the scaling. We've done this. We've done that. But in some ways, the most difficult game you can have in Final Fantasy is vanilla NES Final Fantasy. Because it is just a mean game when you play it originally.
Yeah. It's certainly not easy. The game itself, like I mentioned some of those enemies, frost wolves and sandworms and sorcerers. A lot of times when you're playing the game, you don't run into those when you have a ribbon. You'll see those enemies pre-ribbon. Now, tonight, it's going to help that we're going to kind of give you a couple ribbons possibly before you run into them. But there are some floors on this game, on this hack, that are going to obliterate you. If lobsters ambush you, they're probably going to hit you really hard. Sorcerers, even if you're wearing a ribbon, we know that ribbons do semi sort of help out with touch effects. Death touch is going to come out. Trance is going to come out. I foresee a lot of wiping on this match tonight.
I think within the case, and now you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think in the case of the touch effects, it's that certain enemies have a natural element and some don't.
Mm-hmm.
If you have an elemental protection, like the ribbon or one of the elemental armors, and you get hit by a touch effect with an enemy that has an element on them, then you'll be protected. But not all the enemies have an elemental protection, and some of them are non-elemental, and those are just going to go straight through whatever protections you have, because they don't care.
Yeah, so this is gonna be a fun one. We'll try to give a little bit more information because this is gonna be it's pretty much brand new for everybody, right? This is not a hack that a lot of people have played around with. And again, tremendous shout outs to Pink Puff, because throughout this week of testing, and we found bugs and glitches here or there because of the randomized ROM, was just so quick to put out updates, to put out little patches to make it a little bit easier. The ribbons, making sure that door glitches wouldn't prevent you from being able to move on. All the little things, the tremendous credit goes out. In all honesty, this probably isn't ready for prime time, but this seed tonight has been vetted, and I think it's going to be fun. I think it's going to be really, really fun.
That's one of the joys of one of these weekly one-off challenge races, is that the bugs are just part of the experience.
Mm-hmm.
It's basically an alpha test of whatever we want to do whenever we want to do it, and the runners get to try and bang themselves against it and do something well for the rest of us to watch. Also, just as a note, I want to thank Speed Gaming 4 for a rate of 33 people. We appreciate you coming in and watching this fantastic, weird little race.
All right, I hear sounds. I, however, do not see a video update on my side. Hopefully that'll get pushed through here in a second.
Yeah, I'm refreshing on mine too. I see it. I see them live, I just don't see them on our commentary stream. We'll have to have Mad try and fix that for us. Mad Ewok Herd behind the scenes working on things for us here.
Mm-hmm.
Bruise at level 1, Harm, Fire, Lock, Lit, all the basic stuff you normally see.
Oh yeah, shops are vanilla. So bear with us if you would. We are having to kind of watch along with the live streams, so we're going to be behind a little bit until we get this fixed. But there's not much that you're going to see that's going to surprise you right off the bat. The shops are going to be vanilla. You're going to get the same level 1 spot. Everything is just like the regular game. But what you're going to see in a second is that the runners are going to make their way into Canaria Castle, and that's when the dungeon starts. It's 53 floors. Chaos will be at the end. There are no fiends. There's no key items other than the tail of Bahamut. And we should probably see, I would imagine we're going to see imps, maybe some wolves, some creeps, something really, really easy on the first few floors here. And it looks like we're starting off with chain +3. We've got cloth +4. We're looking pretty good. So far, no negative weapons or armor, so we're getting a nice little boost at the start.
And those rapiers +2 that the warriors that can wield them have in their disposal as well. That's a nice little bonus on that weapon. Gonna make that good until you find something better in one of the dungeons or towns deep within the dungeon. Oh wow. Okay, I have not seen this at work. These procedurally generated floors are crazy.
Oh, did we forget to mention that all 53 floors are procedurally generated and nobody has any idea where they're walking or going?
I love this. This is fantastic.
Okay, so to kind of catch everyone up, some floors are going to have 3 staircases or 3 teleporters, whatever it's going to be on there. If you see a floor with 3 teleporters, one of them is going to be the one that you came from, one of them is going to be the one that takes you to the next floor, and one of them is going to be a town. The towns are stretched along the way. Typically, we're going to see Provoca within the first 2 to 4 floors. I'd guess it's probably going to be the 4th floor. Just on average, it feels like it's kind of been the case. It's the worst feeling in the world to skip and then find out, like, you skip Elfland and you go from Provoca to Melmond. That tells you right away, uh-oh, you missed something.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, there's a certain amount of interest to this. I noticed that the floor tile sets are changing, that various things are shifting around. Now, it's a question for you. We're on DVS's side right now. We see sky-based tiles. Is this an actual sky-based floor, or is it just the tile set, and we're going to have, like, easier enemies on these floors?
Yeah, the actual look of the floor matters not.
Perfect.
You're going to see the enemies based on how deep you are in the dungeon. So as we progress, they're going to get harder and harder, which is good. It kind of gives you a little bit of a change-up look. It doesn't help the runners any. They're going to have to keep a mental track or maybe even keep notes along the way of which floor they're on so that they can start to think, I'm on floor 15 or 16 and I still haven't seen, Elfland, and Elfland's usually around floor 12 or 13. Uh-oh.
I've missed something.
Worst feeling in the world.
DVS does seem to have found a nice little treasure floor right here. Getting a lot of good little bits and pieces. I mean, because everything they're getting right now is basically the one dungeon they're finding. Treasure hunting is actually going to be kind of useful right now. Get your money, get things you're going to need to go, and who knows what kind of endgame gear is going to be in here.
Yeah, a lot of the early gear that you find, obviously it's great to quickly get your party kind of propped up, but for the most part, you're going to want to sell it. If I had one piece of information to give, and of course I didn't give it to the runners because why would I help them? It's that you should probably hold on. And there's Provoca, by the way. So we found our first town. It's that you're going to need money for spells, and oftentimes you're probably not taking every fight that you see. So you're going to want to sell some of that gear to help you afford some stuff.
So we got Vanilla Provoca, as we said before, with the magic right here. Invis level 2, of course, is the spell you'd normally expect. But it's still worth highlighting certain spells that they're going to want to pick up. Saw DVS go back for Mute as well.
I think that's going to be one of the plays of the game, because we talked about how with vanilla scripts, Chaos is going to have Nuke, it's going to have Slow 2, it's going to have Cure 4. The best way to get around that is to mute them, to not let them get those spells off.
And a nice thing here is, if they save at this town before they go fight the pirates, which fighting the pirates is nothing more than a treasure chest from Vicky afterwards, because there's no key items you were saying, unless they get the tail.
Yeah, there's no NPCs at all. Vicky doesn't exist in this version.
Oh, wow. Okay, so no pirate fight for you. So saving here at the town then just saves all the progress they've made. Now, if they die, they start back out at the outside of what I've been calling the Ancient Cave, because that's kind of what this mode is.
That's exactly...
They'll be outside Canaria, have to dive right back in once again. Hopefully they took notes about how they got here. But they will at least be able to save all the level 2 magic they got, all the treasure they got, all the levels they got. So it's not true Ancient Cave in that respect. They do get to carry through some stuff. And Wooden Shields +5.
Yep. And Pink Puff pointed out in chat, along the way, you're going to see a couple chests that say, in the chest you found ... and then it's not going to say anything. That is not a bug with Deep Dungeon. That works just fine with a vanilla ROM. It has something to do with the way that the randomizer interacts with Deep Dungeon. It's money. It's a small amount of money on these early floors, and the money does go into your inventory. Unfortunately, you just don't get to see it on that one screen. So when you see that, just know that it's money.
And we did have a question. You can answer this, Falconic, because, again, I'm not aware of the specifics. The treasure is scaled, is it not? So they'll get better stuff the deeper they go?
Correct. As I understand it, it's kind of on like if you were to put weapons on a tiered wheel, as they go deeper and deeper, the game kind of spins a wheel and decides, this weapon is appropriate for the strength or for the depth of the dungeon that you're at. Oftentimes, you'll see that it kind of favors certain weapons. It looks like tonight the hand axe was really early. We've already got like 4 or 5 of those. But as we go deeper and deeper, it's going to start turning into, silver swords or rune swords. And then later it's going to be ice swords. And then at the very end, I'm talking like the last couple floors, that's when you can find the good stuff. Vorpals, Mazmoons, katanas, sun swords.
Are trap tiles kept around with the procedural floors?
No, there are no trap tiles.
Nice.
Anywhere in here. So if you want levels, you're getting them. It's a walking grind. Or you're going to plant yourself just outside of a town and kind of grind there. But the problem is that the good towns that have the good fights just outside of it are also the ones that have the enemies that have Fire 2 or Death Touch or Crack. So where do you really get your grind when the best places to grind are the most deadly?
What is the encounter rate set at for this particular flag set today, Falconic?
0.60.
That's not bad.
Nope. Same as the co-op tournament we just had.
Yeah, that's a decent one. It allows you a little bit of exploration for treasure chests. Will Bubba decided to take that particular warp tile right there. Looks like he's bounced back to see what else may be on this floor. I think that's the warp tile that DVS took that got him to Provoca.
Yeah, I think Provoca was on the floor that tile takes him to.
Yep, yeah, it's just past. Yeah. He gets a treasure floor on the one beyond, and then it takes him right to Provoca from there.
Yep. Looks like, if I had to guess, and again, we're kind of operating on the live stream, so we're seeing it at the same time that our audience is tonight. It looks like DVS kind of has the early advantage. At least he's the deepest I've seen, and his party's looking pretty good. That fighter's already sitting at 150 health.
Yeah, he's gone up a couple floors just to see if he missed anything after taking a teleporter. But he definitely is at least 2 or 3 floors beyond where Thunder is at. Thunder, our reigning champion right now in the Irongol. Also finding himself a Falchion +2 and an Iron Armor +1, which the evade may not be as good as the chains he was doing, but the protection is going to be a little better.
Yeah, and I'll take Absorb over Evasion 9 times out of 10, at least early, because you're not going to evade most attacks. Right now, you really just want to be able to eat them.
Mm-hmm.
So Will Bloodworth is back in Canaria. I wonder what's holding him up right now.
He has a lot of money, or a lot for this time part of the game. I think he may have actually wandered back out to save the progress he made before going further. Will is a very meticulous player. Like, in certain flag sets, he's very fast, but he does a lot of single-man runs, so he takes a meticulous approach to what he does to make sure that his party can get through whatever problems are facing him at any particular moment. So it doesn't surprise me that this early in the game, Will is taking a very slow and methodical approach.
Keeping an eye on chat, I think I tend to agree with Sir Linkle out here. I don't think Bert entered in the correct seed, because he's getting some different floors than the other runners, so we might have to poke our heads in there and let him know that, hey, buddy, for this race, it looks like you might be out, or you can start over. But yeah, he's on his own thing here. Give me a second. I'm gonna go ahead and message him.
That sounds good. Now, for those that are curious, most of what he sees here in Provoca is going to be the same as far as spells are concerned. His weapons and armor, though, are going to look different, just by grace of the fact that he's on the wrong seed. DVS finding a water-based floor here. Very interesting layout to it. I like that. Didn't seem to see a lot, so he's just bailing out. He's already diving down to the next floor. Apparently there was a ribbon +5 that I missed, because we've got 4 different people here, grooving on their own things. I'm watching Thundercloud collect a lot of treasure in the puzzle. Oh, that is a nice treasure room that DBS has found over here. Looks like Marsh Cave level enemies. Perhaps not going to be as good of treasure as we might like to see from other areas, but still not bad for the area he's at. And he's got to be, if he's in Marsh Cave range, there I was about to say, he's got to be finding Elfland anytime now, and he has. So Elfland, of course, is going to have your level 2 spells, or tier 2 spells, your Fire 2, your Lightning 2, Lock 2, as we see at the Black Magic shops. And then at a certain point, he's going to figure out what else he wants to buy. But, of course, since we're talking about low-level treasure along with low-level enemies, there is only so much money to go around for this magic, and the unfortunate thing about Elfland is where it shows up in a deep dungeon like this, you are going to have to come back if you want to pick up those tier 4 spells, which I think there are some pretty decent tier 4 spells that he is going to want to come back for at some point. Will Bloodworth making his way to Provoca, going to be able to save his progress there. Meanwhile, Thunderclaw taking on a pack of Grey Wolves. And Bert is still going, so I'm not entirely certain what his plan will be.
Yeah, it looks like I just reached out to him in Discord here as well. It looks like he put in a forfeit, unfortunately. I still think he could probably keep this competitive because he has more vanilla knowledge than most runners.
Yeah.
But it looks like he had a misclick when he was entering in the seed, so unfortunately he's probably going to be bowing out. We'll see if possibly we can get another runner in, or either that or we'll just drop the three VODs on screen here tonight.
Mm-hmm. That makes sense. Yeah, I think we're just catching up now to where you were talking with him and seeing what was going on. So that's an unfortunate right there.
It looks like DVS has located Elflin. That tells me he's likely about 12, 13 floors deep by now, out of a 53 floor.
He's making good progress. Yeah, the unfortunate thing for him is that he sees that he's in Elfland, but he only has enough money for the level 3 spells, not the level 4s. So, whatever he does here, he's going to have to decide, how much value he's going to place on grinding some enemies so that he can come back and do some more stuff later.
Well, this is a this is one of the towns where it's not so bad to grind outside of, especially now that he's picked up Fire 2 for that red mage. There's not a lot of enemies. If you're playing the vanilla game, you're probably looking at enemies that you typically see outside of Elfland or Marsh Cave right now. So a lot of stun effects, which can be annoying, but nothing that's really going to sweep you like a Fire 2 will. So now's the time to maybe kind of plant yourself, put that Fire 2 to work, refill your spell charges in the inn, get enough money for that level 4 magic, and probably a little bit more if it were me, and then start diving a little bit deeper. Because once you start getting around Melman enemies, that's when you start to see the sorcerers kick into play, or the frost wolves. The game takes a huge difficulty spike once that happens.
Well, that is true of the vanilla game, too. Once you get around to the Earth Cave area and the dungeons that unlock from there, there is just a noticeable difficulty spike.
Okay, it looks like behind the scenes, Burt Reynolds might be trying to get everything going. He re-entered the race, so hopefully we'll see him start back up. And
he's really not that far behind.
He can catch him. This is a very, very vanilla flag set, and I don't know anyone that's better at vanilla than him.
No, he is currently the record holder in our what we call vanillish flag set. A slight experience boost and a couple quick bonuses, but otherwise a very vanilla version of the game that we have competitors running regularly on the Discord. And if you're interested, you should come check out FileFantasyRandomizer.com to not only check out the randomizer itself, but also join the Discord community, as well as the dev community if you're interested in that, and see everything that this community is up to right now. We have the Fall League coming up soon, along with, of course, right now, our Irongol. That's a regular activity on the Discord. Great fun right there.
Yeah, the Fall League is going to be fun to watch, for sure. So it looks like Bloodworth finally making a little bit of a dive here. He's got some catching up to do, but I like this. I like the state he's in. Last I saw, he had full heals. I think he wanted to get himself prepared for the dive. The 99 heals, about 30 pures. I don't know if 30 pures is going to be enough for a vanilla run, but it'll certainly help, and he can pick some more up along the way.
Looks like we got Silver Swords +4. Those are actually really nice weapons for this stage of the game. That +4 is going to make them very useful.
Oh yeah, that's it's equivalent to what, a little bit better than an ice sword, maybe around the ice sword.
Yeah, won't have the elemental bonus, of course, because it's not actually ice, but the damage and crit and everything else about that should be close to equivalent, if not better. And you never know, the ice or flame sword may actually roll bad, so at that point, ew. Copper bracelets +4 also, I noticed. That's actually really nice armor for your mages too. That's, I think, equivalent to or close to of a vanilla silver bracelet right there.
So some of the keen-eyed viewers might have caught that when Burt was remaking his party. I think by now most of our viewers are up to speed on what blessed and cursed weapons are, or what we call random weapons and random armor. But we've got blessed and cursed classes tonight. Can you give us a little bit of a rundown on how that works?
Yeah, blessed and cursed classes are something that's been introduced recently by one of our newest head developers, Wild Ham. Just got promoted very recently with the published today of beta to the live site. What it does essentially is it adds bonuses and, as he puts it, analysis, which is a real English word, as some of us learned recently, that affect each of the classes. So, for instance, you could have a fighter that learns level 1 white spells, or gains double charges at a certain level, but could also be unable to equip a ribbon, or have crappy armor right here. Now, Falconic, you made this flag set. Did you just use basic blessings and curses, or did you do chaos mode?
I did not do chaos mode. That's a whole nother beast. We have 3 blessings and 2 malices tonight.
There you go. So the classes are going to be very interesting, and then at promotion they can even sometimes gain an extra bonus. That's part of the blessing and curse. I did not look at what the specific classes were to know what the blessings and curses may be pre and post promotion, but you could end up with some really nice things here. And I see that most people seem to be rocking, red mage, white mage, sometimes a fighter, sometimes in the case of the Insane Will Bloodworth, just a thief. But there's going to be good bonuses and penalties on each of them, and finding the way to balance those out with the vanilla class you're familiar with is part of the fun of the, as we call them, blurst classes.
So it looks like we have Thunderclawed in Elfland, so that puts him around floor 12, 13-ish. We're starting to get to the point to, I think DVS, we said before, was in the lead. DVS is creeping up towards the floors where you might start to expect to find the tail, right? Now, the tail can be loose before finding Bahamut. You could find the tail a couple floors after finding Bahamut. Sometimes, if you're really lucky, they're on the same floor.
Because things are proc-gen in such a way that Bahamut will just be lurking in a room that you'll find. And we saw for a very brief second one of the blessing and curse menus right there. Looks like 20 plus to hit, 20 plus to defense on the fighter. So that's a nice little tanky fighter right there. I think it does take a small penalty to its health, though, so we'll have to double-check that if we get another look at that menu right there. But yeah, interesting fighters that he has on display right there.
Yeah, actually, matter of fact, if you want to take the commentary, I'll load up the seed and I'll call out exactly what we're dealing with tonight.
Please do. That would be fantastic. But I also noticed that the enemies that he's fighting right now, he saw ogres and hyenas right there. He's getting into volcano territory right there as far as his enemies are concerned. Would not be surprised if we see Melman show up soon, if he hasn't already accidentally missed it. Crescent Lake is a possibility once you really start digging into that side of the dungeon areas as well. So we'll have to see. Melman is going to be happening soon, one way or another, if he keeps diving at the speed that he's going at.
And Melman, usually it's a town we kind of joke about being worthless and not very good. Do not forget that in vanilla, Melman has the life spell, and there's no greater spell of importance tonight than life, so you absolutely do not want to miss finding Melman.
Amusingly, with vanilla spells, though, they can see warp, but until they find Bahamut and that tail, they can't actually buy warp.
And warp could actually be put to use in an exit. I don't think we're going to see anyone using exit tonight, but warp is still pretty good. Real quick, before we go too far, let's just call out some of the bonuses or the blessings and curses. For the fighter, plus 20 vitality, plus 20 HP to start, and can equip the defense sword right away. The malice is negative 10 agility, so they're not going to dodge as much. And they get no spells after they class promote, which in Deep Dungeon, not really a big deal, because by the time you class promote, you're not really going to go back a couple floors to 4, 3, 2. The Thief tonight, right away can learn ninja spells, so they have magic starting from level 1. Plus 15 MDef. They get the black belt vitality, so a Thief tonight is going to have a huge health pool. However, they started with negative 20 HP and negative 15 agility. Black mages, real quick, plus 40 strength. They can equip the Excalibur if we find one deep. And they get plus 10 agility. They have negative 10 MDef and luck. White wizard, thief weapons, plus 10 strength can equip the katana. Minus 5 luck, minus 20 HP. And to round it off, the red mages, plus 5 luck. They have fighter strength tonight, plus an additional 20 strength to start, minus 10 agility, minus 10 vitality, and that's it.
Interesting mix right there. Were black belts not allowed today?
We took black belts out of the last second because without grind tiles, you're having to take a grind along the way, and everybody knows that black belts are worthless until they're suddenly overpowered, and it takes getting them to 32 for that to happen. So it just didn't feel like it meshed well with the playstyle of the Deep Dungeon.
Yeah, black belts are much more interesting in Blursing when you have Chaos Mode, because what Chaos Mode can do is alter everything they can do, the equipment they can do, like piece by piece. So chest armor and helmets, each of those can have like a rating from D all the way up to S rank, showing that they can equip certain things. Those plus the various bonuses to each of their stats and everything else can mean that you could actually have a black belt that ends up a little like a knight and would be much more useful in a mode like this. But without that chaos mode setting on, keeping the Blursing something that we can understand, I can totally understand not having the black belts in here.
Yep. DVS unfortunately takes a wipe to an unrunnable pack of wizards, which of course is vanilla, and I don't think he picked up lightning 2, so just weren't able to get them knocked down. So he's back to the last town that he saved at as far as stats and gear go, and right back to the overworld. He's having to re-dive. We'll see how well his memory is or if he's keeping notes to get himself back there. But suddenly, DVS no longer in the lead.
Yeah, that sucks. All that progress he was making. He's got good knowledge, and if he knows that there's not much of anything in the particular chest that he found that he was actually exploring, he can skip those. But the levels that he was gaining in the process, that hurts.
Now, granted, he did find Elfland along the way, so while it is a setback, it's not a huge setback. But wiping feels real bad in Deep Dungeon mode, that's for sure.
It's probably... He probably lost about 5 minutes or so, I would say, based on what's been going on since then. And, hey, just as a way to point out, Burt Reynolds now back in the game.
Yeah. Burt Reynolds back. So if you see here on Will Bloodworth's screen, there were 3 staircases visible at the exact same time. That's a very, very easy way to tell that you have found yourself a floor that has a town on it. So we should see him going into the town here shortly. I believe that's Elfland that he's about to walk himself into, which is going to be real nice for him to be able to pick up the Fire 2 spell.
Oh yeah. With the amount of money that he has on tap right there, he's going to be able to buy a fair bit of stuff, especially if he's going to go through and sell a bunch of the equipment that he got as well. Normally, you don't see shopping percent when we play Final Fantasy Randomizer, because there's just so much free money floating around,
right?
Just by the standard randomization. But here, when everything that you're picking up is actually vital to how you're doing stuff, you're going to want to do shopping percent, do your buying, do your selling, try and milk as much money as you can out of everything you have here, because you've got spells to buy, you've got weapons and armor to buy, and you may not be coming back to this town if you're lucky.
Yeah, that's kind of the way you want to treat it, is you're going to visit each town, hopefully only once. And you want to get everything you can get and then never come back to it.
Mm-hmm.
Especially, I mean, just look at the screens. There's a lot of mages in parties tonight, and mages mean spells, and spells cost money. And that money starts to get real high real quick. You start getting to Melman and Crescent Lake, where spells are costing upwards of 10k or more per spell. Yeah, you're going to want to keep some of the weapons and armor that you find so you can sell it along the way.
Yeah, it's a balance that you see in the vanilla experience, especially. There's a reason why the level 3 and level 4 spells are both there at Elfland, is because after you hit the level 3 spells and go check out the Marsh Cave that's nearby, you'll have the money together to go buy the level 4 spells before you start exploring further. Like, the game is tweaked in such a way to really, like, guide you through the buying process and, like, smooth it out as you go along.
Mm-hmm.
But it's also the thing of, in an area like this where you actually don't normally revisit if you're lucky, that balance plays against you to a certain extent.
Oh, look at Thunderclaw's screen, an entire screen full of wizards, unrunnable. We'll see if he's able to get the Lightning 2 off, because that's about the only spell that's going to do any sort of damage. Well, we got Ice 2. Yeah, but Ice 2 just doesn't do enough.
No, and they hit like trucks.
Oh, that's vanilla for you.
They'll do it. Oh, yeah.
There's the Lightning 2. Okay, he was possibly saving Lightning 2 charges, hoping that a combination of Lightning 2 and Ice 2 would get it done. Because there's not much you're going to be using Fast or Ice 2 on at the moment, so
yeah.
They're basically free charges.
He does take it down, and that's going to be a nice brutal experience for the way he's at.
Mighty Metric Batman in chat. Yeah, death punts you all the way back to floor 1. Good luck remembering how to get back.
Yup. This is one of those situations where the people in Dragon Warrior Randomizer who actually draw the little maps as they go along, they would have an advantage in something like this.
Oh, yeah. And
ambushed by Frost Wolves.
So here's one of those enemies we talked about that in the randomizer you almost never pay them any mind, right? Because their frost gets shuffled to something else. But in vanilla, boy, were they rough to come across, and this is exactly why we don't have. I think we have maybe one ribbon. I don't know if Thundercloud's found it yet, but there should have been a ribbon by now.
Oh, I mean, he runs away immediately afterwards, but that was like the perfect use of mute right there. Muted them. If he'd been stuck in there for another round, the Frost Wolves would not have been able to frost him or use any other skills that are baked into their vanilla character, which I don't know if they have anything other than frost.
No, they swing and they have frost. I can't think of anything off the top of my head that they have other than that, but I mean, frost is enough. Hey, there's Melmond on DVS's side, so that puts DVS around floor 19 or 20.
And I think actually back in the lead too, because I don't think Thunder's made it this far yet.
I don't think so. He's also down a character too, and Melman does not have a clinic.
It does not. It does have life though, if you can afford it, and you can use it.
If you can use it, right.
If you can use it.
I don't know, and this is what I was talking about too. This is a town that I probably wouldn't grind outside of because of those Frost Wolves.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because they might not have appeared outside the town, like, in vanilla, but with the way that these dungeons are mixed up, you're gonna see them out there occasionally, and it's just not gonna be nice.
Yep.
Hey, look, another hand axe.
Yeah. So the way it was explained was that the game, it so often kind of just favors a certain weapon or two within a tier system, and tonight it looks like it's the hand axe. DVS, though, should be past the floors for hand axes. We should start seeing things like the rune or the coral sword, maybe, if we're lucky, an early ice sword on DVS's screen. We're also getting into Bahamut territory for DVS, so it's really important that even if he finds the staircase that takes him to the next floor, maybe don't immediately go into it. I would start looking everywhere to make sure I'm not skipping the tail or Bahamut.
He's been pretty good about checking the various directions on a floor he finds and finding everything. It's worrying me with Thunderclaw. I mean, part of the problem is the fact that, we can't tell easily what floor they're on or where they're at because it's all proc gen. But if he misses Melmond, for example, he may not realize it since I think it's a town branch for those places, and then he may be further along and we just don't know it yet.
It could be, and again, that's one of the things we talked about. As a runner, that's the last thing you want to see because you know that towns are going to be in their correct order. So if your last town was Elfland and your next town is Crescent Lake, that tells you skipped Melmond somewhere. Probably worth backtracking.
He's finding bulls, so he's definitely in the right range for Earth Cave and Volcano enemies.
Looks like is Will Bloodworth, but yeah, he's kind of hanging out around that Elfland area. He had a lot of money, now he suddenly doesn't. I don't know if this is a level grind. I'm pretty sure he was able to afford everything already. And Burt Reynolds, I mean, a 10-minute reset that he had to do because he had the wrong seed, and I don't think he's all that far behind. I really, really don't. DVS loses a thief. His fighter was already down. He's down to just the 2 mages here, and the next... I mean, he found Melmond. I don't know if he can cast life yet, but...
He doesn't have levels for it. If he's smart, he saved there, so at the very least, whatever progress he's made right now, he won't lose. But these trolls are being trolls.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, he definitely saved. I just don't know that he's going to be able to make his way all the way to Crescent Lake. So, a wipe incoming, I think. It's almost inevitable.
Thundercloud now finding Melmond, so if DVS wipes, he and Thundercloud will be more or less on the same footing. Obviously, managed to backtrack his way back down. May have the levels now for life. I don't know. At the very least, he saved his progress, so yeah. Even if he wipes out completely, he's not going to be completely out of it. And that's the thing. Yes, he would be behind by the, 17 or so floors that he got that Thunder hasn't wiped out of yet. But at this point, he gets to save all his experience and his progress. It's not a complete waste of time for him.
No, and because he did save, if he does wipe, all he has to do is go back in the dungeon and just hit up every staircase. And when you're not looking across the floors for treasures, if you're just beelining it to the next floor, maybe 3 or 4 minutes to get 20, 30 floors deep. It's very, very quick.
Yeah, he managed to catch back up and get back in the lead exploration-wise, even after the wipe that he already had. Did have a question in chat about key items and the orbs. There are no key items in Deep Dungeon mode aside from the tail. If you've seen from the previous towns, there's not even any NPCs, so even if you got key items, there's no one to turn it into. And because of that, there's no experience bonus from key items. There's no experience point bonus from orbs. It's literally just the 2.5 or whatever you set it to, Falconic, and that's that.
We bumped it up a little bit higher. That was one of the changes I made to make sure that this seed went by a little bit faster. It's 3.5 plus 500 tonight, which normally sounds huge, but you'll see that the enemies along the way and the cautious play that the runners are going to have, we're probably going to see chaos attempts around level 30, level 35.
Yeah, and without that experience bonus that we're so accustomed to, that 3.5 is going to carry you through all of it. It's going to start feeling pretty piddly by the end of it. But along with that, orbs are not a thing either. One, there's no NPCs, so there wouldn't be any fiends to talk to. But there's literally no other fiends. It's just dive all the way down and find chaos.
Just find chaos.
So, yep. So no reason to collect orbs. You
will see, however, that along the way, orbs will kind of suddenly get lit up, and we believe that it's because on some floors it's staircases, on other floors it's teleporters, And on some floors, it's the orb altar that you would normally stand on to light an orb, and we think that that's what's actually lighting the orbs, but it makes no difference. Lit, unlit, doesn't matter.
The best way to think of this is the deepest Topher ever.
Oh yeah.
That we found Topher on floor 1. Now we have to explore 53 floors of it.
Yeah, just 53 short floors of back-to-back fighting.
Exactly.
And if you wipe, you start back at 1. It's not that big a deal.
No. Yeah, it's totally fine.
Looks like Bert found the ribbon that Will Bloodworth just found. That's about floor 10 or so. So what Pink Puff did to kind of help out, because without ribbons, and before he put in the patch earlier this week, you wouldn't normally get a ribbon until like floor 40 or plus. And unfortunately, you need them a lot sooner than that. He sprinkled them in throughout the seeds, so you're going to expect to find one about every 10 floors, and it looks like we nailed that tonight. I think that first ribbon was on floor number 10.
Of course, Pink Puff being a fabulous name based on the Final Fantasy IV, I believe, enemy or item that you'd get, having not played enough Final Fantasy IV. However, as you will notice, as there's no key items, there is also no atoms.
Yep, you can get that rat tail or the pink tail all you want, but you can't do anything with it.
No one to turn it into, nothing, no reason to have it. Sorry, guys.
All right, Bert is, I gotta say, Bert at the very least has caught up to Will Bloodworth, which is impressive for the 10-minute reset that he had to do. I think at this point, Thunder has taken the lead, which, surprise, surprise, I guess. But yeah, I mean, really one wipe is all it takes.
It kind of looks like they're on similar floors. It's really hard to tell here, and it doesn't help that I think 4 or 5 floors in a row are all like Ordeal's skin. Mm-hmm. So it's really hard to tell. We'll know when one of them finds Crescent Lake.
Yep, so that's, for anyone just tuning in, that's kind of the best way to judge where you're at in a 53-floor dungeon, is the towns. The towns along the way. Just to kind of give you a rough estimate, Provoca, usually around floor 4 or 5, Elfland, 12, 13, Melman's probably around 20 or so, Crescent Lake, 26, 27, so on and so forth. So as you get deeper and deeper and you start finding the towns, that gives you a little bit of an idea. Like, okay, I just found Lefane, which is the last town in the game. I gotta be somewhere around, mid-40s. And there's only 53 floors, so once you find Lefane, buckle up, because the fun's about to begin.
We are definitely in volcano range here over on Thundercloud's side, finding the giant iguana packs you'd sometimes see in that dungeon. Also found the tail. Need to mark that off for him. First person to find the tail. But we're in range of that dungeon right now. Oh, okay, so Bahamut's right next to it. Hey,
all right, well, we said it could happen.
Yep.
Usually they're a couple floors away from each other. In rare cases, Bahamut and the tail are together. Tonight's one of those cases.
Yep.
So there's class change.
But I also want to point out Silver Bracelets +5, which are lovely. And one of the first rare swords that we found, that I've noticed at least, Rune Sword +3.
Yeah, Rune 3 is, that's pretty good. I believe that's a little bit better than that Silver Sword, but the Silver Sword rolled +3 as well, did it not? Yeah, Silver 4.
It did, but the fact is that the Rune Sword, as far as I know, also gives a bonus against mage-type enemies.
That's true, and a thief can use it, or that red mage, so that'll be nice for Will Bloodworth to pick up, because he's going without a fighter.
Yeah, total bonus for him. He gets that Rune Sword. It's actually going to help him out.
Alright, DVS finding some pretty good XP enemies here with the mummies. I didn't quite catch if he was near a town and he could actually make use of that. The problem that I'm seeing here, though, is that, well, I was going to say Thunder's levels don't look too good, but I guess it was only on one character, because I just saw level 16 for somebody. And that does feel pretty good for
the
spot he's in this dungeon.
For where you're at, plus that class change. Like, part of him is probably, like, clenched just a little, going, oh god, okay, what I need right now is a town. I want to save this. I do not want to lose this progress. Getting ambushed by saber-toothed tigers and tigers does not feel good in the process.
Yeah, so Thunder and... What's up?
Just watching his Black Mage get decimated.
Thunder and DVS are in what I like to call the danger zone of Deep Dungeon. You're going to start running into tigers with high crit. Soon you're going to see more Frost Wolves, Irongol's with Fire 2, Man-Cats with Fire 2. You're going to see Sorcerers pop up in a couple floors that have Trance and Death Touch. Sandworms with Crack. We're going to start losing some people here real quick because I think we're only at 2 ribbons now. DVS picking up some silver armor. So yeah, I think DVS is probably just shy of floor 22, I believe it was, where we saw Bahamut in the tail. So Thunder's still in the lead, DVS right behind.
It's a good race between the two of them right now. And I mean, I love the fact that Thunder is doing so well. I would be cheering for him if he gets 5 weeks of holding this title after just winning the co-op championship. At the same time, DVS is certainly an underdog here, and you gotta cheer for the underdog when they're doing so well.
Oh, yeah, I always cheer for the underdog. Look at the floor on Will Bloodworth. I don't know if you caught that or not. One staircase with another staircase right next to it and a single room. It was the smallest floor I've ever seen.
Outside of, like, vanilla, like, tiny sea floor or tiny ice floor. Yeah. And it actually kind of sucks a little when you find a floor like this here in an ancient cave, because you're just diving and the monsters are going to start getting progressively harder floor to floor. You hate thinking that you've just lost 2 floors, quote-unquote, right there, because you're too deeper once you get past that, without anything else to benefit from it.
Yeah, that's a weird hurdle that you're just not used to having to deal with in FFR. But tonight it is. You don't want to go too deep too quick because you don't have the levels of gear for it.
With the Wiz Mummy showing up here, I would guess that DVS is probably in around Ordeal's range for his floors at this point.
Yeah, he's got to be closing in on 21, 22. He should be finding Bahamut here real soon.
And I guess that's a good indicator right there. He is not class changed yet because he's using Vanilla Sprite, so we can tell. Oh, Flame Sword -2. So Rune Sword's better. Yeah. But yeah, because he isn't class changed yet, we can kind of tell that Thunder has that lead.
So on screen, top left, we believe Thunder is, he's got a pretty good lead so far. I really like his levels. I think his spells are all purchased already, so I think right now we have a clear lead. It just takes, one sandworm fight is going to reset all this. So doesn't mean he's going to keep that lead, but right now I think he has it.
DVS is exploring this floor, hoping there's going to be something on here, but I'm pretty sure this floor only has, like, 1 room with 3 treasure chests and just a lot of space to wander and do nothing. Finding sea trolls on this floor, he is fairly deep in that enemy encounter list at this point.
Yeah, so it looks like we're starting to get, I don't know if that's a rarer encounter, because I don't think we're going to see them often, but we're starting to see some of the sea shrine enemies, and that's really great for XP. The problem is that's where you find lobsters, and lobsters hurt.
It's a possibility, as they're discussing in chat right now, that DVS has in fact missed Bahamut's floor, and potentially even Crescent Lake to go along with it if he is this deep in at this point.
That would be unfortunate. Not so much for the spell charges that they're going to miss on like the Knight and the Ninja, but for the gear that they can equip. It's as essential as it can get. It's almost mandatory to class change in Deep Dungeon.
Yeah, this ancient cave can be brutal, and if you get sent back because you didn't get your class change so you can't get your equipment, that is a huge loss to suffer. Will Bloodworth, it looks like, has been sent back as well, because he's now fighting the piddly spiders and scums right here that are traditionally found in March Cave. I'm guessing he took a wipe or had to exit or something?
I didn't catch it. There is a chance that even on some higher floors, you might still kind of be in that range where a lower enemy can show up. And the same way with DVS, where I don't quite think he was at the Sea Shrine floor for enemies. I think one just kind of snuck its way in. Because it works off of a range, if I understand it correctly.
Fair enough. Sounds like we've also found 3 ribbons so far. I missed where 2 of them... Hell, I missed where all 3 of them were. But I know that DVS had at least 1 of them.
So 3 ribbons means that somebody's got to be close to around floor 30 or so. And I don't think that that's quite the case. Is chat sure? Did DVS? Oh, so DVS has skipped a couple towns then.
He had to have. He's finding Ankylos and Ankylos. He is finding some... He is progressing fast, but he's missing dungeons or towns in the process here.
Oh, that is unfortunate. If he's at his 3rd ribbon, that all but guarantees that he missed Bahamut, because third ribbon is likely around 430 and Bahamut was like 422. So
it's not all is lost. If he can find good armor from the mid-range that flourishes up, if he can find a Mazamoon, he may still be able to pull this off, but that is progress that he did not make as far as towns and class change are concerned that could come back and bite him. Oh yeah, he is at... Well, that's Gaia. Oh, and you can see the gears spinning
instantly going, wait a second, hold on. What happened to Crescent Lake? Yep, I think you nailed it. That's exactly what just happened. It was like, this doesn't look like Crescent Lake. Uh-oh.
Oh, wow, what did I do? Okay, so golds are -1, silvers are +5. Your silver bracelets are going to be better than your gold bracelets.
Yeah, the silver +5, it's definitely going to beat out the gold -1, so that's money we don't have to spend. What about the pro rings? -2, yeah, but they still give you that protection, so I think you're going to rock the pro rings no matter what.
Yeah, that's one of those pieces of gear. No matter how low the pro ring rolls, no matter how low the ribbon rolls, you still will buy them and throw them on. But in all other cases, you really do start playing that numbers game about, is this lower piece of gear better because it flourishes higher? Like, you have to keep an eye on that.
Right. We'll see if we can get an idea of where Will Bloodworth and Burt Reynolds are. The easiest way will be for one of them to find a town here so we can kind of give you that range. So there you go. Thunderclawed, for instance, is in Crescent Lake. So that tells us he's around floor 26. That puts him about halfway through the deep dungeon. There's 53 floors.
Yeah, and at this point, DVS is just going to have to grin and bear it and commit, because I don't think he wants to walk back the 6 or 7 floors it would take to go find Crescent. It's like, if I wipe and I have to walk my way back up here, then I'll just go and deal with it then.
Yeah, I agree. The funny thing is that this is the scenario where warp could really come in handy, but you have to have class change to be able to warp, and he's past class change.
This is the one section of the dungeon that he went a little too fast through is the one portion where he actually needed it, because it's also the thing, if you do get wiped out after class change, but you saved it, you can walk yourself back up and buy all those spells you couldn't get before. Like, we were joking about, why would the knight need these white mage spells when he's not going to see those towns again? Well, if you wipe, you just fight.
Yeah, that is a good point. Unfortunately, tonight, it's not such a spot-on point because the knights get no spell promotion due to one of their malices. But you're absolutely right. Wiping after a class change doesn't always have to be the worst thing in the world. It does allow you to go back and pick up some spells that you otherwise wouldn't have had.
And DVS is definitely in Sky Tower range as far as the enemies are concerned, because that was a 4-pack of those R Hydrants. Definitely seeing the end game enemies at this point, or close to end game enemies.
Yeah, we're getting there. As we go a little bit higher, you're going to see some vampires, some whiz vamps. You're at the end when you start seeing blue Ds. And if you don't remember your vanilla scripts, blue Ds, especially when they're in packs of 2 or 3 and have thunder, can easily wipe out a party. Even a party with ribbons, they just continuously throw that out, and they're unrunnable. So you have to beat them down before they can wipe you.
Because you kept the vanilla runnable unrunnables?
Kept it all vanilla. Basically, if you pull up the flags, the first third of the page is just all gray.
That's awesome. I love it. Now, just as a question for my own edification, is that based upon the fact that it would have played poorly with the Ancient Cave mod that King Puff made, or is it just because you felt like leaving stuff vanilla?
Originally, when we came up with the flags, ribbons hadn't been kind of passed out every 10 floors or so you were dealing with the chance that imps could have quake or crack, so it just felt really, really bad to go into a 53-floor dungeon and not know what to expect from the enemies.
That's fair. Okay.
So we kept it as vanilla as possible. You have some knowledge going in of what to expect, and now having those ribbons at least helps. It doesn't make this easy, but it certainly helps.
And we joke about it, the red hydrants, and just, they're fun, they're popcorn, we don't stress too much about them. In this kind of mode where you're low level and they show up and can cremate you, that hurts.
Oh yeah. Speaking of hurt, look over at Burt Reynolds. He just got decimated by Frost. He was able to get the Fire 2 off and knock him down, and the Red Mage is looking good. The problem is the red mage is all alone.
Hey, it's the Will Bloodworth game. You only need one.
Speaking of Will Bloodworth, manages to find Melman. That puts Will Bloodworth around floor 19, I believe. He is about 2 floors away from Tail and Bahamut, if he doesn't skip it like DVS did.
The Cerberuses are giving DVS the business right here, having real trouble getting away from them. Seems like he's just given up and is actually starting to fight them at this point. Maybe deciding he needs the experience, especially knowing that he's going to be this close to the end game. Because, like, once he finds Onrak, assuming he finds Onrak, he can't be that much farther from... I guess, well, there's still going to be... Lufane will be in here, but Lufane won't do much besides give you your level 8 spells. He's what, maybe 8-9 floors from the end?
Well, yeah, but Lufane Hospitality's on, so we get an inn and we get a clinic.
Nice. That's beneficial, at least.
Yeah, so there is that saving grace. Lufane's going to be mid-40s, so once you find Lufane, you're probably about 7-8 floors away from Chaos at that point.
Looks like Bert managed to walk himself back, is getting his guys revived and saving back out here at the town again, the inn, so that he's prepped and ready to go. Curiously for me, I mean, we see that Will Bloodworth is rocking Thief Rainbow. We see that Thunderclawed has, although his spells, his sheets are weird, I think he actually has a Fighter Rainbow. DVS took Fighter Thief Red-White. Burt Reynolds does not have a White Mage. So some of those really essential white magic spells that we take for granted in the randomizer, like for instance, Life 2, not going to be available to him, as far as I know.
Yeah, he's not going to get Life 2, but if Burt Reynolds manages to class change and then walk back 2 or 3 floors, he'll at least get Life on the Red Wizard.
It's something. It's just not everything you want.
No. And tonight, by the way, just another flag that we kind of enabled. Every class gets 9 spell charges if they level up enough. Nobody's capped at their original 4, so the knights and the ninjas, if they wanted to, they could have 9 spell charges. The problem is like we mentioned earlier, they're well past the first couple towns, so they're not going to get those.
Well, and with the Malice on the knights, they're not getting those spells anyway.
But the Red Wizard can get, you know you're going to get 9 levels or 9 charges of life should you need it.
And I mean, it's nice for the ninja, especially, I mean, there's Temper floating out there in the range that he can learn. Having 9 charges of Temper on your ninja is crazy good.
Yeah, that actually brings us to the next point, is when you get your ninja, do you reset? Do you find a way, do you go save at the closest inn and then do a soft reset so that you can backtrack and pick up Temper and Fast on your ninja, knowing you're going to have 9 charges of both?
Well, does he have to worry about it? I'm just remembering. Does the thief start off with black magic?
Tonight, I believe, yes, it did. So did they remember that and pick it up?
Yeah, that's the question. I don't recall most people buying magic on their thieves, so they may not have remembered that they actually have black magic available.
Well, that's not our fault. That's their fault.
Opal +2. Now the lack of that tail right there is kind of hurting you. Sorry, DVS.
Yeah,
that's a lovely toboggan you just found.
So I think what we're seeing is the inevitable train wreck from DVS. He's making great progress, but you just know that coming up to a potential 500% health Chaos. Now, Chaos stats are only 100% to 200% tonight, which you would think is me being generous, but we didn't have to mess with Chaos too much. His vanilla spells and skills alone make him a pain to deal with. And I just don't know that DVS is going to be able to put out the damage needed before Cure 4 rolls around. Not with this gear. He's going to need to get class changed.
Did I miss it? Did he wipe at some point? Because he was just seeing Peds. Now he's taking on Earth Elementals on 2 different floors. I mean, it's a possibility these are just low packs that have rolled up.
Yeah.
But to see a couple of them in a row leads me to wonder whether or not he wiped out.
I mean, it's possible. Again, I think maybe this just might be Deep Dungeon at play with the range they can bring, but we'll see. I don't recall seeing him wipe.
No.
Not since early.
I think this is just a couple floors populated with less, quote unquote, dangerous enemies, because he is still fighting like Opal +5 here. Yeah,
and that's great for Thunder, who can actually...
He'll be so pleased.
There we go. Pink Puff in chat pointing out that the enemies that you see along the way are based on the XP and gold that they give out. So maybe it's not quite what you would see along the way of progression of the vanilla game, but it's more so what they give out as far how much they're worth is how they're grouped.
Nice. There are so many opal shields here. A whole bunch of winter sleds inlaid with mother of pearl that they just can't do anything with.
Oops, all shield. Hopefully they sell well.
He's picking it up probably not only to sell them, but also because if he does wipe and has to come back through the dungeon after saving, he just needs to save those. Like, he'll be golden at that point.
It's also a good indicator of, yes, I've definitely been here, keep moving.
These treasure chests are now empty, I can skip this floor.
Oh, poor Burt Reynolds. Manages to get through with that red wizard and revive everyone, only to get back to the floor and get 2 people knocked out to frost again. He's at that point where he just needs to kind of push along and get that 3rd ribbon so that these characters can stop dying to these elemental spells coming out.
Yeah, if he can squeeze through. And I didn't notice this before, but this floor right here has 2 different staircases or whatever up, a ladder and a staircase, which could potentially indicate that there's a town lurking here as well as the next floor.
I think that's exactly what it means. If I'm not mistaken, one of those is Melmond.
Which he won't be able to revive, but he can at least push through and get a save there so that if he wipes, he's exiting back out. And there is Melmond. At the very least, he can save now.
So we know that he's 2 or 3 floors away from being able to class change and pick up life on that red wizard if he would just go. But the worst thing you can do when you only have 2 characters is to dive even deeper. At least that's what it feels like sometimes.
Those silver bracelets, by the way, for +5 are cheap at only 1,400 for sale here at Melmond. That is a really nice price for the amount of protection they provide.
Okay, let's see if Will Bloodworth remembered that. I think he just picked up fast on the thief, or was it the... I sure hope he remembers his thief has spells.
DVS finding Onrak, so he is now less than 8 floors away from Chaos if the math holds up on that.
Onrak is usually closer to floor 40, so we're probably a little over 13? 10 away. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, you'll usually see Onrak around 39-40.
Okay.
Fun fact, and we did warn our runners here, because there are no key items, there's nobody guarding that Sea Shrine entrance, but they've been told not to go in it, because the game treats all of the overworld locations and the Sea Shrine location here as a random teleport. So if he were to step onto that, there's a very good chance it's going to send him backwards in the dungeon, and you wouldn't want that.
Oh, that was a question I meant to ask you, and then I completely forgot. So each of the locations on the overworld and that Onrak will just warp you to a random floor within the dungeon?
Correct. Sometimes further ahead, sometimes behind, sometimes out of bounds, soft locking you, which is why we made it very clear, do not enter any overworld location other than Canary Castle, and do not enter the Sea Shrine. Don't do it.
Interesting. I mean, if I was really far behind and had nasty wife, there's a part of me that's just like, screw it, let me go see where these take me. After a save, of course. But so, at the same time, no. While you're in the dungeon, don't take that Onrak. That would be bad.
Don't do it.
Don't.
There is the 4th ribbon pickup from DVS. So DVS has to be, and we already knew because he found Onrak, he's about 40 floors deep. That's his 4th guaranteed ribbon. Now, after this is the floor area where you could start finding ribbons on their own because of the eliteness of what they are. But he doesn't need them. He's already got the 4 that have been put in.
He got 4. He's good. He's been doing a pretty good job of checking for all the treasures in the dungeon. It's the situation where, yes, he missed class change, but he has so much knowledge and so much experience, like just exploration experience done at this point, that even if he did wipe, I don't think it would take him that long to get back up and actually propel himself further. The one thing is he has to remember, after he hits Melmond on another dive, if he has to do another dive, come back and find that Bahamut, because we know Bahamut can show up. That's the one thing you're missing, dude, before you're golden.
And here's that pack of sorcerers that we said was so deadly. Trance and Death Touch, it's the fact that the original developers put that on the same enemy is the most rude thing I think I've seen in quite a while.
And the ribbon will help against none of that, actually, because Trance is not elemental.
Nope.
So
Not gonna help
you're
one
just
bit.
kind of hosed.
Not going to help one bit. So, what, oh, is he? I didn't check. Is Burt Reynolds moving on, or is he hovering around that staircase outside of Melman still?
I think he's moving on.
That's
Gonna
the
try
right
and
play.
hope for. But I don't know. He's pausing and thinking.
He needs to explore. I think he's on the floor with Bahamut in the tail to the lower right. And I think he's on it. No, it's not this one.
It's the next one up. It was in the upper right area, but he's definitely within a floor or two of it.
Okay. Well, that's what he needs. And I think suddenly, because if you ask me, I think DVS is bound to wipe at some point, unless he just gets oops all Mazmoons and the elemental gear that you talked about. I think we can definitely say that DVS is going to be wiping at some point. So, Burt Reynolds, if he picks up the tail in class changes, I think he's now managed to go from 4th place on screen because of that 10-minute reset to 2nd place on screen. And that just shows his skills in vanilla. The dude's amazing.
Something to point out, by missing Crescent Lake, I'm pretty sure that means that DVS has absolutely no access right now to Invis 2.
Correct.
So that battle that he is going to have with Chaos, assuming he makes it that far, is going to be supremely difficult, because a vanilla Chaos is going to hit like a truck against guys that are only wearing medium range gear.
Not to mention the fact that hey, there's a wall axe as well. As if we didn't have enough ribbons, now we have a wall axe. Chaos is... Oh, there's the trance coming from the sorcerers as well. So 2 out of the 4 have been tranced here. Let's go ahead with the other 2. There's 1 down. And, all right, well, Will Bloodworth stays alive. Do we get away?
Yeah, no. Get out your glow sticks. We've got a trance party.
Well...
Oh, Red Mage is up.
This fight brought to you by Snickers, because you're not going anywhere for a while.
Nope, that didn't matter. 3 of them are now dead due to Death Touch.
Welcome to Vanilla. I didn't do this. Nasir did this.
4 down. DVS has been ejected from the dungeon.
Yep.
And
that's a good thing. That's actually a good thing for him.
It is. But whatever progress he made on those last few floors after Gaia, after Onrak, I think that last ribbon that he found maybe is gone from his inventory. Couple levels that he gained. Those are all cleared out. And now you see he's deep enough in the dungeon, he can't quite remember just where all the stairs are at this point.
Yep. Now, again, it's not going to take him long, because the second he sees the staircase going up, he's going to take it now. By the way, Will Bloodworth did find the tail in Bahamut, so he's class changed as well. 2nd one on screen to do so. But I get DVS, it will take him 5 minutes to catch back up. It's not the end of the world. There's the tail for Burt Reynolds. He's 1 room away from class changing as well. Him and Will Bloodworth neck and neck. Ghosts on screen for Thunderclawed. Not the enemy you want to see. They hit tremendously hard.
And it's not going to take DVS very long to catch up either, so long as he finds that Bahamut. That Bahamut and then the lack of Crescent Lake was a 1-2 punch I don't think his Chaos fight could have recovered from.
Yeah, I think we've said it a couple times now. I think that was a blessing in disguise for DVS. Hopefully he picks up the tail. Otherwise, I'd put him back in a strong 2nd place for sure, because he knows where to go, where not to go. He knows where that ribbon's at.
Yeah.
Really, if it were me, I'd pick up that 4th ribbon, and then I would just start beelining it. You're no longer looking for the tail or Bahamut. You've already found it. Now you're just trying to get to the last few floors, because that's where the good gear is. So skip floors 40 through 49. Get yourself as close to Chaos as possible and start looking for gear around him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and you can see he's quickly beelining. Burt may be at a good 2nd place right now, because I think he might have a slightly better loadout than Will does, and he moves a little faster, generally speaking. But I think DVS is going to quickly catch up and get right back in it again.
Look at the play by Burt. He gets the class change we talked about and immediately backtracks 3 floors and picks up life on the Red Wizard.
It's very smart, essential, especially since I'm pretty sure he has the levels at this point. At least 2 charges exactly to cast that. That is going to help him out a lot. Nothing would have helped DVS, of course, with that battle against the Trance Wizards, Sword Swords, because they just destroyed him before he had a chance. But life is going to be very nice if you get a chance to use it.
So he's sitting pretty. Like I said, I think the more that people get their hands on Deep Dungeon, there's going to start to become the meta of floors 20 through 30. It's once you find Bahamut, it's maybe time to stop checking chests and just get off of those floors because they're so deadly.
Well, and with the amount of gear that DVS has, that he's sitting on, a bunch of opal gear and other things, there's a very strong possibility that he is going to be able to just, like, class change, equip, and then speed run the last few floors.
Correct. Question in chat, with the changes, how many nuke charges do you get at level 35? Well, you'd pick up on a Black Wizard, you'd pick up, I believe it's at level 25, your first spell charge. So you'd be looking at maybe 4 or 5 on a level 35 character. Enough to do a little bit of damage, but certainly not enough to rely on it. I'd be more kind of concerned with Exfer, because I think Exfer mute strats in Deep Dungeon when you're playing a vanilla Chaos, I think that's the sweet spot. That's what you're looking for.
Especially because of that, the high chance of him having like 8 to 10,000 health, and the fact that he has Cure 4 in his spell list, you do not want him getting that Cure 4 off.
Nope. And you know he's got Nuke, he's got Slow 2, he's got the elemental spells, he's gonna have Crack in there as well. He's got enough stuff to kind of give you a handful.
Yeah.
You're not going to get too much time to defend yourself up before he really starts coming out. And I think what you're going to see, you might also see players hold off on doing damage until that Cure 4 comes out, because you don't want to get 2,000 in and then he resets all that. So.
And bear in mind, of course, the simple fact is that, unlike your characters, Chaos doesn't have to worry about the number of charges in his pool.
Nope. You can just go. I think DVS is closing back in on Melmond, if I'm not mistaken, which puts him just a few floors away from Bahamut, which he missed earlier, but not before he runs into ambushing Frost Wolves with Frost. But it looks like he's got 3 ribbons on, so this fight's not as deadly as it used to be.
And there's a good possibility, because he got to on-rack and save there, he actually has 4 ribbons already equipped. It would not surprise me. Just doesn't matter when your thief is on the ground, but it's one less thing he has to worry about. He really is in a fantastic position if he can get that class change and that Crescent Lake stop. Because then, of course, he knows where Guy is at, he knows where On-Rack is at, he knows where he can buy the spells that are lurking there for him once he gets that far. And he's got enough gear that I don't think he really has to worry about anything. It's just making that last play.
Yeah.
Melman's... Oh, okay, I guess you're not going to go say it. Okay,
I think he knows that that Bahamut's got to be somewhere close.
Yeah, you can see he's checking all the rooms again.
Yep. So I think that's why he didn't save there. He knows he's going to come back and purchase that life. Yeah, we'll see. I don't think he's that far behind. Like I said, like you said, he's got great gear. He's got knowledge. He just has to get himself back there, and I think he's right back in this race. The one thing I don't like so far, at least if I were in his shoes, I'm not too comfortable with the levels that he has over an hour into the seed. I think Thunder's levels look really good. DVS has some catching up to do.
Yeah, so to note, Thunder is seeing these R hydrants we saw earlier from DVS, and where they were really scary against DVS, they only seem to be mostly affecting that Radio Red Mage. The rest of them are just shrugging it off like it's not a big deal. Like chip damage.
Yeah, I mean, there's a reason Thunder is not only the champion, but has defended his crown 4 races in a row and looks to do it tonight for the 5th time. He just doesn't make a lot of mistakes. You can throw something brand new at him he's never played before, and he will just systematically break it down until he's comfortable. And now, like you said, he's in a position where no matter what enemy he sees, even if he runs into blue D's here soon, he stands a good chance of getting through all of it. Just a very, very well-played seed so far by him.
Bert, though, making solid progress catching up. We know from the enemies that he's fighting, he's slowly starting to make his way into Crescent Lake range.
Crescent Lake would put him around floor 26, which we said earlier was about halfway through the dungeon. 53 floors. For those just tuning in, this is a deep dungeon. All floors in one single location. Chaos at the end.
Ancient cave style.
Ancient cave.
With the one difference, of course, being that when you wipe out, you just dive right back in, and the dungeon is exactly the same as you remember.
Yep. That was Will Bloodworth finding, I believe that was Gaia, so that puts Will Bloodworth around floor 31. Oh no, I'm sorry, that's Thunderclaw that's in Gaia right now.
Mm-hmm.
Which is interesting. I wonder if he's just kind of hanging out there, because he was past Gaia at some point, I thought. Maybe
He was.
Okay.
He backtracked. I saw him backtracking. I'm wondering if he wanted to come in here and buy more spells and sell some of the gear that he picked up on later floors.
It's possible. He's got one more town after this that he can restock in. What's really dangerous is the Catclaw 5 is tremendous.
It is. No, I think that's like what was something he pinned. He needed the money to buy it, and he remembered it was there, and so he went back to get it, so that one way or another, at least he has a quote-unquote end-game sword. And now you can see him here going and checking out the level 7 shops.
And level 8, like Linkalot said, Cure 4. Now you can't cast... Well, Cure 4 is going to be in Lefane. Fade and Exfer would be the one that I'd want more than anything. I want Exfer, and I think you're seeing him pick that up. If we don't see Exfer mute strats coming from Thundercloud on Chaos, I would be very surprised.
Mm-hmm. And we know he has mute because he was using it way earlier.
I think we even saw a mute hammer, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe that was one of the practice seeds I did earlier. They're starting to merge together at this point for me.
I know we saw the wall axe. I remember people pointing that one out.
Mm-hmm. Alright, so Will Bloodworth, we think him and Burt Reynolds are about neck and neck. They're both class changed. They're both making their way through pretty well. Levels look good, 17 across the board for Will Bloodworth. A little bit lower than Thunder, but then again, Thunder is a little bit deeper and he's getting better XP enemies, so it's not surprising at that point.
DVS has a problem.
What is DVS's problem?
He found Crescent Lake. He still has yet to class change, so he's missed Bahamut a second time.
Oh, that feels really, really bad.
Wretched, yeah.
In all fairness, before the race, I did provide all of the runners the averages that I found in my testing over 10 to 15 seeds. So they all kind of were told to expect Bahamut before finding Crescent Lake.
Mm-hmm.
And I wonder if maybe he's just forgotten that.
That, or he just isn't taking the path, or whatever it is that's happening. Only other thing I can think is that he took this staircase, and the staircase to Crescent Lake is right around the Bahamut floor possibility. Like, maybe he's going to go back and start looking for it.
Maybe. By my notes, I think Crescent Lake was a couple floors past Bahamut, though. I hope we see him backtrack here. That's what I want to see.
That's the staircase. Nope, he's not backtracking.
He's going forward. So no class change for DVS on this attempt, which, I mean, I hate to say it, but he can get all the levels he wants. I think you really do need the weapons.
You need the weapons, and you need the spells. Like, that Invis 2 cannot be, like ignored.
Yeah, that feels real bad. There's no ruse on the Knights, unless we find a couple defense swords. If we find defense swords, suddenly Invis 2, not so big of a deal.
Not a huge deal, no. If they have the defense spell on them, any kind of ruse stick or whatever.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Having said that, we're not going to find anything with ruse on it, but you know, he can hope.
Is the magic balanced?
It is not balanced.
Okay.
We could find nuke sticks. We could find anything.
So why are we not going to find something with ruse on it?
I mean, it's possible. It's just not likely, right? Because there's just other things that it could be. I'm just saying, knowing hardcore Irongol, I just don't think we're going to see that. It's not going to work.
No, that's fair.
Favor.
Yeah, that's fair.
Jazz Raptor, good to see you. So a super duper duper quick recap. Tonight, special edition of Final Fantasy. It is Final Fantasy Deep Dungeon created by Pink Puff. Think of it as Ancient Cave. All of our runners are in Canaria Castle. Canaria Castle is a 53-floor dungeon with towns sprinkled along the way. Chaos at the end. There are no fiends. There are no key items other than Tail and Bahamut, which some of our runners have found, some haven't. The goal, as usual, get your way to Chaos and defeat him. You do that, you win the game, and everyone loves you.
DVS is progressing quickly. He did get silver armors. He does have great gear for what his characters can equip, but like there is some hard points that he is going to have to make right now if he is going to want to be able to get through this.
Uh-oh. Look at Thunder's screen.
Oh, I see him. I see him.
Yeah, this is a case of kill them before they kill you, but the trance goes off. Only
here
one
he
person
goes.
gets paralyzed. And the lightning 3. I think having those tier 3 spells is gonna save his bacon a couple times here.
And that is the benefit again of being able to class change right there, because he has those to unload that DVS more than likely will not.
Yep. Looks like we have our first victim of the hardcore Irongol. There is a forfeit going on. I don't blame him. This is a very, very rough game mode, especially if you've never done it before. And you can, it's super interesting, right? Because the flags themselves are so vanilla, it almost hurts. You would think, upon first looking, that this is going to be an easy race. So of course I'm gonna race vanilla flags. It'd be super easy. Look at the XP; it's through the roof. I'm gonna have an easy time. Deep Dungeon just puts a whole new twist on how this game gets played, and I think we're in for at least a couple handfuls of wipes coming up.
So interesting note, Thunderclaw did buy some of the Ace spells. Very smart move on his part. Has his Rosa White Mage right there, going to be casting Aether just in case the Fire Elementals decide to unleash something nasty on him. So far they're just punching. We also had a question of what happens if someone goes to Topher and decides to enter there. Well, what happens is we're not exactly certain where they end up. As Falconic was telling us earlier, they could end up on a random floor inside the dungeon. They could end up in an area where they can't go anywhere and soft lock their game and have to reset again. Yep. The anything aside from the main entrance to Canary Castle is a random warp.
And they were told before the race, it's against the rules to check it. So what would happen if they did? They would get forfeited. That's what would happen. So they're not going to do that, but yeah, it would put them somewhere in the dungeon, somewhere on a floor. They could put them in the open blue area here on Thunder Screen, and you're soft locked. So for that reason, that's why we banned it.
Jazzraptor asking if there's a Proc Gen Topher. Technically, this is Proc Gen Topher. 53 floors of Proc Gen Topher.
Pretty much. No fiends, no revisited fiends. There is one boss only. It's Chaos. He's waiting on the 53rd floor. You're going to see his sprite in one of the rooms. You just got to talk to him 3 times to initiate the fight. But other than that, it's a 53 floor Topher.
Yup. Have fun exploring.
And I saw some blue Ds there on Thunder side, so that tells me Thunder he's in the 40s. He's closing in on 53. I don't even know if Thunder has the levels yet for Chaos, if I'm being honest. I think he's got some grinding to do.
His fighter is looking pretty good, though. I will say that. That has some nice health on that fighter. What is he, 22, 23, I think is what I saw? Still not perfect, but it's up there. Yeah.
So we'll see. He should be closing in on LaFane. If he's seeing blue Ds, that's got to put him past 40. So here's the interesting situation that Thunder's in. Is he's past his opportunity to stock up on heal pots because LaFane's not going to have an item shop.
Mm-hmm.
So does he have enough to get himself ready for Chaos at the end, or does he have to start tapping into the Cure and Cure 2 and possibly even Cure 3 spells? I don't know if he picked up the heal spells or not.
Yeah, I don't know. That is an interesting note to make, though, is that when you play traditional Topher, you have 8 floors or so you have to explore without anything else you can do. You basically get the same experience here with this version of the game, because yes, Lufane will be between Onrak and the final floor of Chaos, but it doesn't have an item shop on there, so the heal pots you get, you have to carry through. Only benefit is, of course, the fact that you do at least get an inn that you can say, quote-unquote, save at and get a heal up, so one less full heal you have to worry about.
Yeah, and you might see somebody make use of that. If they run out of heal pots on floor 51, it might make sense to backtrack a couple floors, because it doesn't take long at all to do so. Backtrack, save the inn, and then just rush your way to Chaos.
Question in chat about whether or not the Black Belt was banned and whether or not we're being hard on them for banning it, which it is banned. We're actually doing the players a favor by banning the Black Belt, though, because you don't want to have to take the time to grind it when you don't have a grind tile you can use. It's actually a detriment to you to try and use the Black Belt over a Thief or a Ninja.
Yeah, try getting... Hey, there's a shirt pickup for Thunderclaw, and that was +3, so that's really good armor. But try getting a Black Belt to 32 on a walking grind. I dare you. it's just not. You wouldn't want to do it. So for that reason, we took him out.
Okay.
It's just too much time.
So Rydia must be his black mage, because she just equipped it. I thought she was a red mage, but she must be a black, because red mages can't equip shirts. So in that particular instance, then, that must be the black shirt, so it's a +3 black shirt. So she has, even if she didn't have the ribbon, which I'm sure he has one for her, she has additional time and ice protection as well.
Recent chat, when I say that, I am specifically referring to deep dungeon mode, when you don't have the luxury of knowing exactly where the good enemies with the high XP are.
Because as Pink Puff established for us just a little bit ago, just because you're on a high floor doesn't mean you're going to find high-value enemies. They'll be probably higher in experience, but that's based on their default and their pack size, and if you get a couple bad small packs, or you get ambushed by some nasty things in between, that can just ruin a grind for you. And I mean, yes, you can sit outside of Lufane and try and grind enemies on the floor above, and you'll get good experience, but one bad wipe will take out anything you haven't saved, and then you're back to floor 1, and you have to do it all again. Like, the value of grinding a black belt in these flags is completely different. But Thunderclaw did find value. That's a +1.
It's a Vorpal 1, so there's our first endgame weapon. It certainly feels good. I love the Vorpal. He's got a knight to swing the Vorpal. I think he's hoping for something better than that Vorpal, though. If I know Thunder, I think he would probably swing like an Excal 4 or 5 over that Vorpal 1. I wouldn't, but...
I wouldn't. I mean, I'm not even as big a fan of the Vorpal as you are, but I know that at, scaling of this type against the Chaos, the Vorpal is your friend, 9 times out of 10.
Well, again, just to kind of recap for those that didn't catch it earlier, the stats for Chaos tonight are only 100 to 200, so it's not insanely scaled. There's a good chance you're going to get agility over 200, and you're going to need to put out a couple locks. But for the most part, nothing too crazy. It's the health that's going to give our runners an issue, because it's 350 to 500%. You're probably going to be seeing a Chaos, like we said earlier, within the range of 7,500 to 10,000, and Cure 4 is on the vanilla script, so good luck.
Want to point out that people were just debating whether or not he was going to use the Vorpal, thinking that he probably would. And then I want to note, immediately after they started mentioning that, he went in, looked at the stats on the Silver Axe, decided they were better, or Silver Sword, decided they were better, took the Vorpal right back off again.
Yep.
So, yeah, the crit chance on the Vorpal +1 is phenomenal, but not everyone wants to take the damage hit that the Vorpal has as its base stat.
So let's see if we can get a general idea. We know Thunder's deep. I put him somewhere around mid 40s, maybe 44.
Yeah, he's definitely encroaching on Chaos territory at this point. He may still find Lufane. What wouldn't surprise me if he does, and then he goes and buys the spells while he's there. But he is definitely encroaching in that upper range now.
Yeah. So we'll see if we can get an idea of where Burt Reynolds and Will Bloodworth are. They've been pretty much tied neck and neck. There's a ribbon for Will Bloodworth. That tells me that he's likely around floor possibly 30. I don't know if we've seen him locate Gaia yet. Gaia was on
Quad
31, I believe.
Quad X shirt, vanilla. That's going to be a vanilla shirt right there. The bonus on that because it's vanilla, I think the silver is probably going to be slightly better. But just having that Quad X you can use to just throw at enemies from time to time certainly doesn't hurt matters at all.
Okay, so we have Onrak for DVS. That puts him at about floor 40. That's his last chance to stock up on heal pots. He's going to be closing out on Lefane here soon. So he's right behind Thunder.
Made up that progress.
Unfortunately, he doesn't have promoted classes like Thunder. So that Vorpal, Thunder can use it if he wants to. And he might even equip it for the Chaos fight, like chat's pointing out. But it's not going to do DVS any good, because none of the classes rolled with the blessing to use a Vorpal pre-promotion.
And that can happen. We have seen mages roll with the ability to roll an Excal if you ever find one. It's funny, but it's useful at times.
Yeah, I mean it can happen. I think in one of my practice runs, I picked up a black mage that could wield the Excal, and it's great.
Yeah, you certainly don't complain.
All right. Alright, so we should be seeing an Excal +4. Alright, well, there's the weapon that I think Thunder was looking for.
Yeah, he's probably going to use that.
Oh, there was that the black. Maybe it was this seed. The Black Mage can equip the Excal. Of course, we're not going to put the Excal on the Black Mage, but.
Well, I think in a Chaos fight, I might, just in case, if my Black Mage runs out of spells to cast and has nothing better to do. I'd still probably equip the Vorpal on my fighter anyway, just because I want the... That's who's going to be getting the Tempers, that's who's going to be getting the Fast, that's who's going to get the benefit of those critical hits from the Vorpal.
So we see we've got Gaia for Will Bloodworth. That puts him on floor 31 of 53. So he's about 15 floors short of Thunder at the moment. But again, I promise you, this Chaos fight is not easy. A very, very, very good chance that even Thunder with these levels is going to wipe. So this is anybody's game still. Blue D's for DVS. That puts him in the mid 40s somewhere. He's closing in as well. We knew he was kind of neck and neck with Thunder.
Yeah, no, he has proven himself to be really solid at this particular kind of game. Like, he is recovering fast anytime he takes a wipe, and almost invariably catches back up and then surpasses Thunder again. He's behind right now, but consider the fact that he was behind 40 floors at one point. Yeah. He is seriously cooking.
Well, I like it. You're going up against a guy that is not only the champion, but like we said, is defended 4 times now. You're probably not going to beat somebody like that playing a head-to-head race. You got to make a little bit of gambles. You have to try some stuff every once in a while. And I think he's doing that.
You got to play risky. Will Bloodworth is in Gaia.
I haven't seen a town from Bert recently, but as soon as we do, I can let you know about what floor he's on. But I think most of the attention right now is kind of at the top left of your screen because we are closing in on floor number 50 for Thunderclad. A Brack purchase from Will Bloodworth. We don't have any fiends that we're running into, so that Brack is, I can only imagine, only has one target in mind for that.
X for Brack.
It's happened before.
Not to say that Brack isn't useful against some of the enemies he could find along the way, but X for Brack, I think, is his strat right here.
Right, and if you hadn't noticed, I do believe our commentary stream caught up. So we'll see if we can't get ourselves ahead of the game here and start calling this like.
Look at that. That is absolutely fantastic right there. We can finally keep up properly here. Oh, Thunderclad finding the blue steak. Delicious.
T-Rex. I gotta say, I've done about 10 to 15 of these practices, have not seen a T-Rex once.
Well, and now it's gone, so you won't see it again.
Another Vorpal.
Vorpal, yeah.
Thunderclad, and a 5th ribbon. We don't need it, so we're just gonna skip it.
No, but the opal armor he found, since we haven't yet found a dragon, that is some really nice armor right there.
Yeah, that's fantastic. It's really, really good. Water's unrunnable. So that 5th ribbon, I think, tells me that he's past 450. I didn't see him find Lefane. I was probably blabbering. DVS found Lefane. He's there now. I think Thunder's a floor or 2 away from Chaos.
Yeah, and he just left an upper floor. I think he's backtracking because he wants to go hit Lufane and get those last couple spells. Would not surprise me if we see him do that.
Wouldn't hate that at all. Question in chat: what does Exfer do? Exfer removes elemental buffs or resistances. Chaos, for instance, pretty much resistant to everything: fire, lightning, ice. You put an Exfer out there, it lands, suddenly those spells start doing a lot more. But more importantly, spells like Mute now have a chance to land. And if you can mute Chaos, you made the fight cake. It also increases, on some enemies, it increases the ability for Brack to land. So on Chaos, 1% chance without Exfer, you get that Exfer, remove that stone resistance, and all of a sudden now it's a 6% chance. Doesn't seem like much, but it's a whole lot.
Meanwhile, Thunderclad has managed to get that water pack down, and I just noticed that Cat Claw he equipped is doing some serious work from that Black Mage.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a while since I called it out. I think we saw that the Black Mage got a strength bonus
Mm-hmm. I seem
at
to
the start
recall
of the
that.
game.
Which we scoffed at the time,
Yeah.
but
But with a Cat Claw 5, that's suddenly it's almost like a red wizard wielding the Vorpal. Like, it's not great, but it's impressive for what
good enough.
for who's swinging it. It's impressive.
Yeah. It'll work. It'll get the job done.
These are custom sprites that you're seeing on Thundercloud's side. I like them. They're good sprites indeed.
I think they're a pack that Ragnarok actually made at one point that Thunder has picked up on, because I know I've seen them around for a couple of different players.
Yeah, they look familiar for sure. I know I've seen the that Rydia sprite. I think it was either Spellzap or Thunder. Somebody was using the Time Mage sprite that Pink Puff made for Final Fantasy -1, which I think works really well for white mages or white wizards.
And Thunder is getting
some. So it's got to be Thunder. Go ahead.
Thunder is getting some serious work out of that XCal +4, +5, whatever it was. Like, it's obviously its elemental damage does a lot of good bonuses right there, but he is also just getting all the crits off of it.
Mm-hmm. Another Pro Ring pickup for Thunder. We don't need that. We bought those much earlier.
I think that's like Pro Ring 7 or 8 for him at this point.
Right. DVS catching up a stun stick. Not really what we were hoping to find for item magic, but I mean,
well, if you expert Chaos, you could always stun him as well, and then for a little while, he's not only not casting magic because you muted him, he's not moving because he's stunned as well. Like, I might keep that around just if the expert goes off and I have nothing better to do for my white mage, you know?
So it looks like we're seeing a bit of a grind here from Thunder. Smart play for sure. I think more levels are needed. I don't think we're doing enough damage to take care of a Chaos that has Cure 4. But then again, he's got Extra and Mute, and if we can land that Mute, like we said, it doesn't matter. You're going to get that damage off eventually. You could be swinging for 1 hit, 1 damage. As long as you have your evasion capped, it's smooth sailing from there, I think.
We did have a question in chat about what sprite that is that's made up the ninja for Thundercloud's sprites. Oh, Aegis Shield +3, more important.
More importantly, did you see what was in the room below?
Is that Chaos?
We are on floor 53 for Thundercloud.
Woo!
That is Chaos in the room just below us.
Spicy. So spicy. But that Aegis Shield is going to pay dividends for him. Just briefly before we get into it, because we're going to want to call this Chaos fight, that sprite is actually Golbez from Final Fantasy IV. I think that's actually comes from the Lunarian Shuffle, like that set of sprites that they use for those kinds of things. So,
That's a Katana +4, by the way.
Oh, if you have a thief, and I think he does, that's his Golbez right there. So he's wandering away, and I can't say that I blame him. I was about to queue you up to call that Chaos fight, and Thunderclaw has wisely turned tailed and run.
Yeah, I think we're saving that for sure. If I'm not mistaken, I think our red wizard tonight can use the katana. I can double check that, but somebody was able to wield the katana pre-promotion tonight.
Perfect. Okay. It's hard to tell when the sprite isn't red who it actually is.
And I think Thunder does have that. I think that Golbez sprite is a red wizard. I think he's got the fighter and then rainbow. Somebody pointed that out.
Perfect. By rainbow. I think that's right. I think I mentioned that earlier, and then forgot because his sprites are weird.
Okay, so I think what we just saw was Thunder pretty much just confirmed to himself, yep, I'm at the end. I know exactly where Chaos is. I don't like my levels right now because he's either going back to save to get his spell charges, which could be the case, and then he's going to go right back to Chaos. But I think it's a little of both. It's go back to the last town to save, and also take some fights along the way.
Well, and I don't think we found Lufane yet for him. So if he wants any of the magic that's lurking there, he still needs to go find that town.
Yeah, that's true. Now, granted, he's got mages that can make use of the Cure 4 and the nuke if he wants to. Or, I'm sorry, the Life 2 and the nuke if he wants to go get it. But Will Bloodworth back in Gaia, so he's still kind of hovering around 431.
There it is. That's your Lufane right there. He found it.
So Bert finds Lefane. That puts Bert at around floor 45. He's going to pick up his spells, and then he's got about 8 more to go until he finds Chaos.
So that is definitely a situation right there where Bert is hanging out neck and neck with Thunderclawed right now. Because Thunder is, I think, really looking for that Lufane's check. Thunder has the knowledge about how to get to... Oh, that's nasty.
And here's that fight you don't want to see.
Not when they get trance right off the bat.
Oh, that Death Touch is just eating his characters alive, and the paralysis comes out.
If he wipes here, he is going to lose all kinds of progress.
Yeah, did he have a fade charge? If he did, I'm curious why he didn't shoot.
He checked. He checked, and he immediately menued out.
Okay, well now, here you go. They're starting to run away, so we've broken the morale of sorcerers. The problem is they're not all running away, and some of them are still swinging.
And all it takes is one Death Touch getting through against the M-Death to ruin your day.
Yeah, this is worst case scenario. It's almost to the point now to where maybe you don't think of running, just start taking them out, start swinging.
He needs them to break and to all run away because he's not getting out of this fight otherwise.
Nope, there it is.
No.
A white from Thunderclawed. He's got to dive 53 floors again. You hate to see it, but welcome to Final Fantasy Deep Dungeon.
Well, and not only that, but there was a good 8 to 9 floors there of progress that he lost because he never found Lufane.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. So I don't think he has the Vorpal anymore. I don't think he definitely doesn't have the Katana.
And he forgot that knights cannot equip white magic.
Nope. Yeah, that feels
hurts.
really, really bad. But like I said, anything can happen. We didn't do that to the characters. You can thank Nasir and the Final Fantasy team from 30 years ago for making sure that sorcerers had trance and death touch, because that's fair.
Oh, yeah. No, that's totally balanced.
Yeah. All right. Well, that quickly kind of puts Burt Reynolds in the lead, I think.
Burt with DBS very much on his tail.
Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and say I think the class change gives Burt a couple extra minutes in my book.
Oh yeah.
And what makes this even more impressive, if you haven't been watching from the start, Burt Reynolds unfortunately did not enter the correct seed in, so he was playing a different seed for about the first 10 minutes of this match. And instead of just forfeiting and turning in all his chips, he decided, you know what, I'm just gonna re-roll. I'm gonna have fun tonight. So about a 10-minute delay on his part, and the fact that we consider that he's in the lead now, I think that kind of tells you what kind of player Burt is.
So a couple things. DVS apparently did wipe against water, so he is working his way back up the dungeon again. So Burt is definitely in a commanding lead right now. Other thing that he found along with the Arab shirt he just picked up for himself, he found Ice Armor +5, which is, I think, the best piece of endgame gear we have found for a knight yet.
Yeah, I'd put the Ice 5 over a vanilla Opal for sure. Mm-hmm. There was a question in chat that I didn't catch until just now. How do you know if there's a fork in the map from Jazz Raptor? I'm assuming that question means how do you know if there's a town somewhere? And if I'm not right about that, please let me know. But on the floor, there's, like, look at Thunderclaw's screen right now. There's 3 staircases, one that you came from, one that progresses you to the next floor, and then you might see a third one. If you do, that's your town. And exiting the town will just bring you right back to the floor that you found the town on. So,
and that just means that you need to make sure you explore your floors, especially after you've when you think you might be getting in range of the next floor, because next town, because you definitely need to find each of those towns as you're progressing along, just so you don't have a situation where you explore 20 floors and then lose all the gear and experience you've earned in the process.
Yep. When you have 53 floors and they're all kind of mixed together, the only way to kind of gauge where you're at is by the towns. So you find Elfland, great. Your next one you should expect would be Melmond, and if all of a sudden you walk into Crescent Lake like we saw on DVS earlier, you kind of get that uh-oh moment, like this isn't the town I'm looking for. I must have missed one somewhere along the way.
I am pretty sure Thunder is checking his notes as he goes through, because he's taking pauses on each floor. I'd be willing to bet that he wrote down the direction to go on each of these floors to figure out where to go and what to do to get through this dungeon as fast as possible. Just in case, for instance, he wipes to a pack of 6 sorcerers.
It wouldn't surprise me.
Mm-hmm.
Good players
Smart
take
play.
notes.
Yeah, absolute. Although we toss this around plenty in the randomizer community. Veteran move right there.
Veteran move from the champion. So Bloodworth, let's see if we can get an idea of where he's at. He should be closing in, I believe, on Onrak soon, close to 440. Last time I saw him in was Gaia. DVS did wipe. He's all the way back to Melman now. He is so close. He has to know that he's missed Bahamut, right? And maybe this is the run. We know he's like 2 floors away right now. He's on floor 19. Bahamut's floor 22.
He's exploring. He's trying to figure out where it is. He left Melman and he's going back on the floor that he was on right now. I think he thinks it must be before where he was at instead of after. But Bahamut, as we know, is 2 to 3 floors above where he's at. So he just needs to go. He needs to go up, not down.
Well, I like the fact that he's at least looking. It tells me that he knows, like, Bahamut should be here. Why is he not here? Just keep going. It's a couple more floors past where you're at, but I like where your head's at. This is a grind from Burt Reynolds, and I love it. The Blue Ds are probably the best thing that you can grind on right now. They give great XP.
I think they picked up the Tiamat color scheme because those are very prismatic Blue Ds.
Yeah, they look great. As I said, they give good XP. One of them only gave 854, so maybe we're hoping to find packs of 2 or 3. They're unrunnable, they have Thunder, but we have Ribbons, so.
Yeah, Thunder doesn't scare you nearly as much. Thunder Clawed, maybe, but not Thunder.
Thunderclawed for sure. See if we can find out. Now, he did take that nasty wipe. We'll see what floor he's closing in on. I think he's already back, 25, 30 already?
23. Or you mean floor-wise?
Floor-wise.
Yeah, he definitely lost a good 5 levels there, easy.
Yeah, that's unfortunate, but he did get a couple practices in. He was one of the ones that helped test Deep Dungeon this week, so he knows that those enemies are capable of doing that. And in fact, he was the one that kind of pushed to make sure that we got Ribbons going. But Ribbons don't really help against sorcerers, and we found that out the hard way.
Yeah, unfortunately, non-elemental attacks do not care how much elemental protection you have.
But Burt is swinging the Vorpal. We know that Burt is a fan of that weapon. He's got it. The real question is going to be, when Burt finds that Excal 4, how big of a fan of that Vorpal is he? I think one thing to point out, unless Thunder missed a chest, which it's possible for sure, I don't know that we have a Mazza this seed.
It's entirely possible we do not.
Haven't seen any Sun Swords. We did see the Excal. We've seen, I think, 2 or 3 Vorpals. We've seen a Katana +4. It's literally hanging out right behind Chaos. But that's about it. So I wonder what the level is that Burt's going for here. Maybe 25 for at least... one nuke isn't enough to change anything about this game. So this has to just be about levels, not spell charges.
Yeah, it is hard to know what level you should go to as well. Because of the fact that, if you wipe to Chaos, it's not just like 8 floors you have to dive through. It's all of them.
Yep. Look at Burt. Burt finds the Mudgol and Sorcerer. He does get away, though. Benefit of having a Thief. Unfortunately, that Thief was on one knee because he got paralyzed from trance, but does get through. I think if I'm Thunderclawed, I probably don't like my levels right now, but we all know what's coming. We're probably going to see a fight that starts off with getting the evasion up, and then we're going to see an X for Mute, I think, because it just takes all the teeth out of that vanilla Chaos.
Yeah, I don't think there's anything else you can do in a fight like this. Ooh, an eye, look at that. Yeah, it's the situation where you gotta get your defenses up, and you gotta hope that you can do it before Chaos has a chance to cast all the magic that's gonna just destroy you. But at the same time, you got to start getting those annihilating his magical defense, because I agree with you. The easiest way to take out this chaos is to make sure that he can't do anything to you in the process.
As you were talking there, unfortunately, DVS went face first into a pack of sorcerers and took a wipe. So back to floor 1 goes DVS. Maybe this time will be the time that he locates Bahamut on floor 22. You can only hope. Question in chat, what's up with the timers? The timer for DVS, it's correct. It's just not cropped very well because, of course, we started cropping before the timer started and it all fit on there just fine. But now that we're over the 1 hour mark, closing on 2 hours, just missing the one there. And Bert, no timer. Bert has no timer, so not a problem. You have 2 timers up at the top that show you exactly where we're on this match. We're closing in on the 2 hour mark. One runner so far, top left, Thundercloud, has located floor number 53, has seen Chaos, but decided not to take him just yet. I think was making his way back down to floor number 45 to save at Lefane, and took a wipe. Got sent all the way back to floor 1, lost all the levels, all the gear. So now
Ouch.
The question is where is Burt Reynolds? He's closing in on, I think, the X-Cal floor that we saw earlier.
He's having a good run right now, that's for sure. Yeah, because I saw he at one point got some of those sorcerers, and they were starting to get him into Trance Party, but he managed to get away from it. It is just, yeah, this is a brutal little seed right here, all things considered.
Surprise, surprise! Considering the flags are vanilla, right? Who knew that you could make a 2.5 hour hardcore Irongol seed from a vanilla flag set?
Yeah, you know, I tried to do something similar with Vanilla Magic a while ago, and they tore through it in 1 hour and 15 minutes. So clearly what we need to do is just build it all into one dungeon.
Yeah.
Oh no.
So again, huge credit goes to Pink Buff. This is his work of art. I was talking to him earlier. He said it's just something he did during the quarantine. Just kind of had nothing else to do with his time. Decided he was going to play around and come up with another hack, and this kind of came out of it.
It is fantastic. It's so much fun to watch this.
Do you think Thunder's tired of seeing sorcerers yet, or?
It's so easy to forget just how dangerous they can be. They're pushovers in the randomizer at this point, but no, they are really nasty.
Deep Dungeon is such an interesting hack, especially, I think it really does pair well with the vanilla flags. It almost feels like a redesigned Final Fantasy. You suddenly don't know where you're going anymore, so that feeling of exploration is back, which the randomizer's fun, don't get me wrong. I've played 3 years of it and I'm still not tired of it. But there's something to be said about being able to play Final Fantasy 1 again and have that feeling of, what's going on? I need to go where now?
I agree with that. Also, just want to point out, Will Bloodworth has found a second wall axe at this point. Not that you necessarily need it when you have all those ribbons, but if an enemy does happen to get Expert on you, having those extra chances of putting your quote-unquote ribbon back up, very nice in a fight.
So Will Bloodworth, if he's finding that other wall axe, that tells me he's closing in. He should be spotting, I think, Onrak here soon, maybe even Lefane. We'll keep an eye on that. DVS is re-diving again after that sorcerer wipe. Thundercloud looks to have made his way back to the 40s. He's fighting Blue D's here. So it's anybody's race. We did have a clear leader. Now I don't know that we have a clear leader anymore.
Oh, we do have a mute hammer as well. So now we have unlimited, definitely have unlimited mutes. Actually, I think you may have mentioned that before that we had that. So yeah, but it is nice to have that. So that's one less thing that we have to spend charges on. If you can get that expert to land, honestly, what they probably are hoping for at this point is some sort of expert weapon.
Yeah, I was going to say, Mute Hammer's great, but that's not the spell we're super concerned with. Yeah. Extra with about a 20% chance to land, and being level, 7, I believe? No, level 8, I'm sorry. You're going to want, at least, for the math to work out, you're going to want at least 5 casts of it. And even then, it's not guaranteed to, so.
Apparently we have found our third Vorpal, as chat is commenting. Vorpals for days. It is the Ginsu collection.
It's a great sword. Some of our runners have enough characters to swing it. But with the Katana 4 sitting out there, you're certainly not going to see a Vorpal on a ninja. You're going to see that Katana 4. The problem for DVS, unfortunately, is that we have still not located Bahamut or the tail, so there will be no Katana swinging for us.
One of the characters could swing the Katana outside the ninja. Was it the Black Wizard or was it the Black Mage?
I think the Black Mage got the X-Cal, and if I'm not mistaken, I think it's the Red Wizard that can swing the Katana, which is great, because it's an upgraded Vorpal.
It is, if you can get it.
Oh, poor DVS. You hate to see it, but we're back with our old friends. Trance went off, only one character's down. We still have a chance to get away. There goes another character down to Trance. And there's our third.
It's a Trance party.
Well, Reese in chat earlier said, let's see if I can scroll and find it. Yeah. He says, Vanillish made me respect sorcerers a lot more than I ever thought I'd need to. And that is in full effect tonight as the sorcerers 1, 2, 3 knock out his party. Oh. We're getting close, I think, to seeing runners start to crack.
Yeah, no, he is taking a moment. I would not be surprised if we could see his webcam. If he got up, he's taking a break, gonna grab a drink, maybe go hit the bathroom, come back to this. Meanwhile, Bert, I think you were just gonna comment, is taking on Chaos. You want to call this?
Sure. It's our first Chaos pull. He's done 2 talks to him. Now we've got 1 more. Now we're initiating the fight. I don't know that he has the levels because we know what's coming from Chaos. It's the benefit of a vanilla spell script. We know exactly what's coming. The question is, can we do enough damage before Cure 4 rolls around? So we're going to start up with the obvious buffs here. I think you're going to see some tempers going out. The name of the game for him is more than likely Swing Night Swing. Double tempers. Chaos swings, but doesn't kill the red mage right away. We did get all the buffs off, and that's exactly what's going on. So far, the strategy is just to get a swinging as hard as we can swing. There's our first elemental spell. That one's considered a free turn because it's not so bad. We know there's going to be lightning coming out here in a little bit. We're going to see a slow 2. I'm curious why he's bothering to swing before the Cure 4 comes out, because this is all just going to get reset anyways. Some more tempers going out. Fasting the ninja that has the Katana +4. It's not a bad idea. Down goes the Black Wizard, but he did his job. The fasts are out, and we continue to buff up that Knight. Cure 4 is coming. We know it's coming. There's crack, but ribbons are going to make that kind of a free turn for us here. We're swinging again. We did equip the Vorpal for Burt Reynolds. We're doing about 700 so far, and the tempers continue to come out. Where is the Cure 4? When are we going to see it? Now, I like the strategy, though, Dark Moon, because the Cure 4, it is going to reset all the damage, but we're spending our time buffing up this character so that when the Cure 4 does come, we're still going to be swinging right away for 1,000+.
Well, I have to wonder if it's also an if. Like, he is slowly burning through his skills. Ouch, that was a big scroll right there. But he's also cranking out a really nice amount of damage right here. There is a strong possibility that he can just get enough damage unleashed that it doesn't even matter. If he did it before Cure 4 lands, which he's up around, I want to say he's north of $3,000 right there, there's a possibility.
It is possible, sure. I think we're looking at the lowest is going to be, 7,500. Now, we do have improved Cure, so that Cure 3 is doing a lot more, but the Vorpal's doing some work, right?
It is.
The question is going to be, can he outlast? We know there's a nuke coming. There's a slow 2 on the spell script as well. If that lands on the Knight, that could be deadly. But you're talking some serious damage now. Slow 2 does go out, misses the Red Wizard. The Red Wizard's job right now is to keep that Knight alive. The Ninja is nothing but free hits at this point. And good hits. There's more skill coming out from Chaos. No Cure 4 yet is the most important thing I think we've seen so far. Cure 4 is coming up, though. Can we get the damage out? There's another skill. That's another round for him to get the damage out. 417 coming from the Katana. The Vorpal swing. 719. He kills him. Burt Reynolds dethrones Thunderclawed.
Oof.
We have a new hardcore Irongol champion, Mr. Burt Reynolds. And that's after a 10-minute reset.
Mm-hmm. That is amazing. I also want to point out that within a minute of him finishing, Ale finished as well.
Oh, Ale Markin finishing. So the times, let's see if we can get this for you. The FFR bot time for Burt Reynolds, 1 hour, 52 minutes, and 57 seconds. Ale Markin finishes 1 hour, 53:52, not even a minute.
And I know Thunder has just forfeited. I'm sure we're going to see Will Bloodworth go for the next, 5 hours if we follow up with him. Yeah, but that is impressive right there. I mean, that's essentially, what, a 1:38 because of the 15-minute wipe that he had?
Yeah. Just for those, and again, we said earlier, unfortunately, Burt started with the wrong seed, and we didn't get that corrected until about 10-15 minutes in. He forfeited, and then unforfeited, decided, you know what, I'm going to stick it out, I'm just going to have fun with it, and then re-rolled. So he put himself behind the 8 ball by a good 10-15 minutes, and still managed to come out on top. That's very impressive. I'm kind of surprised that we didn't get to that Cure 4, but it's possible. I think we saw Chaos just go a little bit skill heavy, and that gave him just enough time to eke that out, because we know Cure 4 was next, so just very, very well played on his part.
So we should see Thunder and Burt get their invites soon, and hopefully they will join us to chat about their seeds.
I see Burt Reynolds in chat. Okay, he says no interview, but we do have him in chat here. We have Ale Markin as well. GG's to you both. That was a tremendously close finish. And Burt, again, having that reset at the start and still coming out on top. I think he proved that when it comes to vanilla FFR or vanilla Final Fantasy, there's just not too many people that can keep up. Besides Ale.
Yeah, and I did see from Thunder over in the Discord chat that he was like, I saw Chaos 20 minutes ago, and then I did a dumb. So, knowing what we saw from that Chaos and how he was working, the level of health that he had, I think that if Thunder had just chanced it, he might have had a chance of actually just winning that.
Yeah, I think knowing Thunder, and again, maybe we can get him to speak up here if he's in chat. I think we were going to see X for mute strats. I think that's kind of within his wheelhouse to do, especially when he knows that the enemy has deadly spells and skills, which, of course, tonight we did. I think he could have taken that fight. I don't know that he would have gotten the same... I'm going to say a little bit of luck that Burt did from Chaos, because that Chaos was super skill-happy, and that certainly helped not see a Cure 4. I think he probably stood a chance. I'm wondering if maybe he's kicking himself for that. But nonetheless, we see DVS pressing on. We see Will Bloodworth pressing on. Both of them. You gotta give it up to DVS. He's had some heartbreaking wipes to those sorcerers. I think 4 or 5 now, and yet he's still going. Maybe it's his last one. Maybe it's not. But he hasn't given up yet.
I am seriously impressed with him just by his willingness to bounce against this over and over again and just try so hard.
But in the end, it really didn't even matter. No? All right, that was cheesy, but it was at least worth the chuckle. All right, Chad Burt, welcome. What you missed, just to get you up, is the I guess you can call it the debut, the showcasing of Deep Dungeon, the Final Fantasy hack written by Pink Puff, where Canaria Castle gets morphed into a 53-floor dungeon with towns along the way. So you enter from the start, and you're there the entire game. It's Ancient Cave, essentially.
Just without the constantly randomizing the dungeon each time you die.
Yeah.
Yep.
The enemies get harder as you progress. The gear gets better as you progress. Unfortunately, so do the stakes, because as you take a wipe, like we saw on floor 40, I think 6 or 47, you keep the progress of where you last saved in a town, but you start all the way back at floor 1.
Sounding like from the Discord chat, Dangwu also managed to make it to Chaos while we were watching all of this unfold. Apparently, Dangwu forgot that Vanilla Chaos has Nuke, though.
Well, that's a little bit unfortunate.
That'll be a surprise for you when you get there.
Now, I know Dang has to work early in the morning, so he said he probably wasn't going to stick around. So the fact that he made it as far as he did is pretty impressive as well.
Everyone playing in this honestly should be commended.
Yeah, this is this is something that requires a lot of practice, and to jump into it, some of these runners are doing it blind tonight for the first time. I mean, it's impressive. This is not easy. These are vanilla flags, but they're vanilla flags on steroids.
And I want to point out in chat something that, we commented on a little while ago when we were talking about, mapping and the way that Dragon Warrior people will actually map as they go along for their rando, since their entire game is progged in. Burt Reynolds pointed out that he actually drew little maps of every single dungeon floor in case he wiped while he was going through. I'm pretty certain we didn't see him wipe at all, but he had them if he needed them.
Yeah, I thought maybe we saw Burt take a wipe. Maybe he can correct me if I'm wrong, but regardless, got through really, really well.
Thunder and Ale also pointing out they drew maps as well. That's pretty awesome for all of them. Like, I don't know that I could do that. And there's a reason they win.
We lose another to the forfeit. Dangwoo is out of the race. That, like I said, it's not surprising. He's got to get up early, so we kind of knew that he was just here to have fun. He wasn't going to finish it out. Thunderclawed in chat asking, where was LaFane hiding? There was a floor that I believe had a Topher aesthetic to it, and the staircase that you found almost looked like it was tucked in a dead end, but if you would have kept going right, it wrapped back down to the bottom. In fact, I think, look at DVS's screen. This is the floor I'm talking about. The staircase he just went into progresses him. As he goes right and wraps down, you're going to see LaFane's staircase just below. It was on floor 45.
And to his credit, he's on floor 45 right now, and he still isn't class changed. He's making this work with a very cruddy party.
Yeah, I mean, I like to see it. It's impressive, and I'm just so sad for him that Bahamut has eluded him as often as it has tonight.
You called it, though. There's that Lufane.
Yep. So he is on floor 45. He is 8 floors away from Chaos. But Ale pointing out in chat, too, this is one of those seeds where it just happened to be that Tail and Bahamut were on the same floor. And that always feels real good, because sometimes you can find Bahamut and think, oh no, I've missed a chest somewhere, I need to go back. The Tail can be a few floors after Bahamut sometimes. But tonight, it was literally side-by-side rooms. And another one bites the dust. I don't blame anybody, because there's really no... I don't think there's any points for second place tonight, or third place. Another runner has forfeited. We still have Will Bloodworth and DVS on screen attempting to make it through. I see disaster coming for DVS, unfortunately.
But credit to him for trying this. I am so impressed by his performance here.
He's doing really, really well. I'm waiting to see Will Bloodworth pick up that Katana 4 right before Chaos, because up until then he's going to be like, oh really? We're another seed where there's no katanas? And then he's going to get it literally at the last second. And since he has no fighter, that's his melee carry. He's going to have to rely on that.
This is such an interesting play mode right now. They're discussing over on the Discord as well, trying to figure out where everything was, where Bahamut was, where the Tail was, everything that went with it. Just the way that this thing laid out made for a very interesting and curious dungeon. And then, like, whether you're willing to try and take on Chaos the second you found him, or if you're like, no, I need to go back, I need to go save, go find LaFane again, get everything I've done saved just in case. Although I gotta mention, like, the second that he went in and saved at LaFane, like, I was automatically reaching for my keyboard just to do the reset, because that's just what I do. And I'm like, I would have done it, and then been sitting outside Canaria going, crap.
Yeah, that was one of the tips I gave the runners tonight was you might want to unbind your soft and hard resets.
Yeah.
There's nothing worse than being this far in and just muscle memory resetting.
I've done it sometimes just because I've gotten the floater and it makes the same noise or a similar noise to when you save. And then you're just like, okay, cool, reset, and then you're back at Elfland going, wait, that was really dumb. Why did we do that?
Right.
No, turning off the keybinds is a really smart idea for this.
All right, so we are out of LaFane for DVS. The question is, it looks like we're going deeper, so we're on floor 46 now. And I think the move here is to just immediately get to floor 50. Just skip 47, 48, 49, and go to 50. Because 50, 51, 52, and 53, that's where the good gear's at. And in Deep Dungeon, that's where you're often going to find the good gear. But yeah, it looks like a couple of runners missed Bahamut in the tail. In chat, we saw Burt Reynolds skipping Crescent Lake. I guess that's my only question for you, Bert, if you're still with us. That moment when you stepped into a town and it was Gaia, not Crescent Lake, what was the thought process in your head? Was it, uh-oh, I better go back? Or, well, I guess no invis too.
Bloodworth is making fantastic progress. We know. I think we saw him find Lufane, so he's got to be within a couple floors or so of Chaos at this point.
I don't think. Have we seen Bloodworth actually enter?
Maybe I'm thinking DVS.
Yeah, DVS is. He's closing. I think he's 6 floors away. Bloodworth, I think he's coming up on Lufane floor, which put him at 45.
I know he got past Onrak. I remember seeing him in Onrak.
Yep. Oh, you had planned to skip Crescent. All right. Interesting. Flame -2, Pro Ring -2. We're about to get the Vorpal pickup for DVS. That's a welcome sight. And I think he realizes that the Red Wizard or the Red Mage can swing it. Maybe not. Nope, doesn't look like it.
Well, for Burt Reynolds, bear in mind, he didn't have a White Mage. So the Invis 2 wasn't really going to help him at that point. I could totally see him just being like, overwhelming force is the name of the game.
That's true. Red Wizard, though, can cast Invis too, but unless I'm not remembering spell charges correct.
I think you probably know this game slightly better than I do.
It's been a long time since I played just straight vanilla.
Yeah, it's a problem, isn't it?
All right, Will Bloodworth, where are you headed? Does he think he's missed a town? Is this what's going on? Because he sees the staircase that has moved him. Oh no!
Uh-oh.
So you hang around the floor a little bit too long, and this is your reward.
Thanks, Final Fantasy.
Chad Burt in chat. Yeah, I don't think you're ever going to see a runner pick up exit in Deep Dungeon.
Warp is useful. Exit, not so much.
And another pack of sorcerers. Ineffective. So first trance goes out, doesn't land on anyone. Fade does come out. And with the low health that they rolled, that should wipe him out. This is a super dangerous floor. Let's see if we can get a look at Will Bloodworth's levels as well. He's got ribbons. But yeah, you're going to want some of that natural MDef to come through as well. Excalibur 4 pickup from DVS. Puts him, I think, on floor 50. Sorcerers are fine, just get luckier. Okay. Crab Cake said it must be true.
He's making it work. He's getting lucky. That's the reason you take a ninja in your team.
Yeah. So I believe I saw 27 across the board for Bloodworth. So the levels are not bad. He's starting to pick up at least 1 or 2 more on the way to Chaos. Combine that with the Katana, and I think tonight the Thieves had Black Belt Vitality, so his Thief should have pretty good HP as well. Certainly not the worst carry you could have for Chaos, but the question is he going to see Cure 4?
I'm looking forward to seeing what happens when they get there. Like, I want to see both these guys make it through. I want to see this happen. My big question is, and I know this isn't for Will Bloodworth. Will Bloodworth will be up until 9 in the morning if it takes him that long to get past the Chaos like this. But, like, if DVS wipes, which I don't want to see him do, but if he does he dive again, especially now that other people have finished?
I don't know that he will, and I wouldn't blame him if he didn't, because he has to know that he just has missed Bahamut. Like, I don't think he expects the Bahamut is further than he's been. And like I said, there's no bonus points for coming in third or fourth with the Irongol Heavy Metal Championship, especially the hardcore version. It's you win or you don't.
Okay, for the record, DVS is a Will Bloodworth. And by that, I mean there was a fun, quote-unquote, quick little Chaos Rush race that Caleb put on, one of our community members, put on a few days ago. The Chaos Rush that was supposed to be quick and easy ended up with an alt-final boss that was all nothing but nuclear casts. That quick Chaos Rush, which, Chaos Rush is usually 20 minutes or so, took the first place person, Caleb, 2 hours and 32 minutes to get through it. DVS, 6 hours and 39 minutes.
All right. Well, should that happen tonight, I promise you that we will shoot you over to his channel because I will not be here for 6 hours. But more power to him. At some point, we're giving back Speed Gaming their channel, even if there's no more races till tomorrow. We'll give this the old college try here. Another Vorpal pickup. There's that mute hammer. Did he keep it? I hope he kept it. No.
He did not. He's going back for it. That's smart.
And the best way to get through, especially for him, I wouldn't put it past him as a strategy of just, you know what, let's just toss out that mute hammer on Chaos to see if it lands. That Excalibur burning a hole in his inventory. I don't know if he doesn't have a Black Mage. The Black Mage was able to equip the Excalibur, but he doesn't have one.
He went with the safety of the White Mage and the Invis cast that he thought he was going to get.
Yep. So Will Bloodworth closing in, not quite as far as DVS, but in a better position than DVS because of the gear that he's able to rock. So the question's going to be, can Will Bloodworth get this done first try, or is it going to require another dive 53 floors deep?
And the two we have on screen are the only two left in the race at this point, because Grendy just finished at the 2 hours, 10 minute mark.
That is impressive, because I think Grendy literally rolled his first deep dungeon like an hour before this race started to get an idea of what it was going to be like. But loved it right off the bat. Within 10 minutes, he came into Discord and was like, this is everything that I was hoping that it would be, and I love this right off the bat. And it looks like he's confirming that again in Discord.
Yeah, and he is actually still one of our ducklings, one of our new player classes right here. So him getting through in 2 hours and 10 minutes is phenomenal. GG's to him for that.
It's pretty good. I had kind of clocked, and again, it's just my best guess, but I've gotten pretty good at nailing down how long flags should take the average runner. I kind of clocked these at about 215 to 245, in that range. That was my goal anyways. And to see most people that have finishing below them, I think it's just a credit to how good they are. But I believe we're about to see a chaos fight potentially, and if we do, I'm going to let you call this one for DVS, but it looks like he's sidestepping. He might be leaving. Storm coming out. It's going to wipe out some of the vampires there. The Whiz Vamp does go down. Fire 2 is going to finish it off. Next round, apparently. So what does DVS do? Is this the same mistake that Thunderclaw made, where you kind of want to save your progress, so you're going to walk back and risk? Oh, look at him. He wants to equip the katana, but he just can't.
Yeah, that's the problem that Thunder ran into, was if I walk back, can I make it there in time? And unfortunately, he ended up wiping to those sorcerers and getting stuck all the way down to the bottom. Oh, and he didn't have spell charges, so he had...
Oh, well, then that makes it obvious why he did it then.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
So who's leaving? It was the White Wizard, not the Red Wizard. The White Wizard can equip that katana. I gotta think maybe this is just a check to see if there's a Maza somewhere.
I would think. Ooh, a wall fighter.
Look at the White Wizard go with the katana +4. And here's the last check. A stun 3 stick. That's not going to do him any good on Chaos. So what do you do? It looks like Thunder said he had to go back because he had no spell charges. I see plenty of spell charges here for DVS. Do you take the fight or do you risk going back and trying to save your progress? Will Bloodworth closing in. I think he's on about 448, 49. He's certainly closing in. Yes, pre-up anybody in the game can use the Mazmoon. It's the kind of its biggest, besides the ludicrous damage that it puts out. The fact that it can be wielded by anyone is what makes it so versatile.
Yeah, anyone can do it, and that includes the black belts who traditionally can't equip anything except for nunchucks.
Yep. And stabs for some reason. A couple stabs for the black belts. Alright, so we are leaving. We're not taking the Chaos fight just yet.
And I can't blame him for that. He at least knows where Lethane is, so he can go save if he can get back there.
Yeah. So what's the play here, DVS? He's searching for gear? This has to be a magic check. It has to be.
Yeah, well, it's the only endgame sword he can use at this point. And the fact is he has good armor, because he did find, like, the ice armor +5, has decent middle gear, shields, and all that. But he does not have a Mazda to swing. That silver sword is more than likely not going to cover it.
You know, I've seen weapons. We've seen Chaos be killed with wooden stabs before. It's been done with enough tempers. That White Wizard wielding the Katana 4, it's not the worst option, especially considering the White Wizard has ruse. So you're going to get your evasion stacked up real quick. If anyone's going to be your solo carry, why not a White Samurai wielding Katana 4?
Mm-hmm. And actually, that is a good point to make. Because of that Katana 4, like, it does change the balance of this whole thing. We have seen plenty of people get by with the White Samurai strats and do it legitimately.
I think I agree with Thunder here. This looks like a grind. I'm so nervous about that grind because he needs to have enough heal pots to not waste spell charges here, because if it is a grind, the worst thing in the world that can happen would be to take on Chaos and wipe, I guess. But even more worse than that would be to try to walk back to Lethane and run into sorcerers and just lose it anyways. So Will Bloodworth, stopping, sitting, thinking, trying to figure out where he wants to go. He's been kind of hovering around the same floor for a good 5 minutes now. Maybe it was a grind on his part as well. Where is he headed? Looks like he's going in reverse. So DVS is doing a grind. We've got Will Bloodworth that's still trying to make his way through. I gotta think that Bloodworth is going to attempt Chaos when he finds him. I think his levels look decent.
I think so. Yeah. No, I Will Bloodworth is the kind of crazy guy to do it too.
Right?
Yeah. I'm here. Why not?
So the question is, and I guess chat can help out with this, who's going to finish first? If we've got two guys that refuse to quit, is it going to be Will Bloodworth or DVS?
That is the question, indeed. I'm interested in seeing what chat says about it, but I will say that I think of the two of them, their class builds, the levels they're at, what they're doing right now, I think Will Bloodworth has the better chance. He's trying as hard as he can to conserve, to not have to use too many of his resources so he can get back and get to that thing. We do see DVS continuing to take on those blue Ds to get his levels going. But that Thunder does a lot of damage, and that Thief, oof, that Thief is gone. So if he wanted his Thief to be able to do anything more with those levels, that's just not happening right there. This is such a big pack, it is really hard to get past it with the amount of damage that they're swinging out. And heal 3 is great, but that Thunder almost completely wipes it away. Oof. You got the levels. Was it worth it? Question of the day. Will, meanwhile, seems like he's in the area of Lufane. Definitely looks like he's trying to take on some extra levels as well. Maybe just doesn't feel quite ready for this, doesn't want to have to do another dive. Question from Grendy in chat, asking if EVS is running the Silver Sword, and I believe the answer is yes, except for his White Wizard, who is swinging the Katana because they actually can. Silver was the best pre-promotion sword that we find because of its +4, and he hasn't managed to promote, so there's absolutely no way for him to use anything better since we didn't find any Mazas. So he is here at Chaos, does seem like he's arranging himself to take this party on, and is more than likely going White Samurai. Got a swing, got a lock too, got a temper going on the White Samurai, and got a ruse. 3 hits, 143 damage, not bad for the Silver Sword. Lock goes out. Did see the Fast come out as well. Ice 3's coming out, and the ruse. Chip damage for most of them, but chip damage hurts when you're at the levels that he's at. Lock 2 coming out, another swing. Temper going as well. That was second temper, I believe, we just had. And they're trying to consider what they want to do now. And more thing about Ruse, now they're going to do Invis instead. Lock comes out, Invis 2 comes up and behind. Lit 3 comes along as well, more chip damage. That White Wizard is going to have to worry, it's going to have to heal soon, because they are in range of being wiped out from a nuke.
The more heal pots. What are you going to do?
Gonna keep doing what he does. Swing, temper, contemplate, temper, and Invis 2. Ouch!
And then gets back rode by Chaos. That's rude.
Ouch! Yeah, that sucks. Not getting any damage off of that fighter, and White Samurai is not swinging that katana right now. Still worried about getting all the defensive spells up. You really, really need to... Okay, you're curing now.
Well, I think he knows Cure 4 on the list. We talked earlier that I think some runners are just waiting for that Cure 4 before they start their onslaught.
Slow 2 comes out, lands on the fighter. Doesn't actually hit, but who cares because the fighter doesn't matter. When you're rocking White Samurai, you don't care about anything else. Unfortunately, also don't think he has fast.
I mean, he could have.
Oh yeah, he could have. I just don't think he does. So we're getting another round of buffs going out. Still continuing to temper, I believe. Yup. Not sure who he just cast Invis on or what was going on there. He menued just a little too fast for the stream. And there's the Cure 4.
Time to go. Now, we're about to find out how good that katana is going to swing. 362 on
one hit.
One single hit.
Needs those locks. It is definitely lock time. You just need to start locking like crazy. And there it is. Already got one lock going out. Going to continue, I think, tempering.
He didn't pick up lock on the red
Nope.
mage.
That hurts. That's one hit for 186. Well, White Wizard doesn't have, or White Mage, doesn't have as many hits per level, and without the fast, you're just not getting that much off of them.
Yeah, this is, I think the saving grace right now, as bad as it feels, is to just spam that mute hammer.
He's really trying to think what he wants to do. Spending a little too long on that spell list. 2 hits, 2 damage. Lock again. 3 hits, 65. Ooh, that's a big one.
That's
3 hits,
a great
785. That's what we wanted right there. Just keep up with those locks. There you go. Cure up. No, you gotta do damage.
Yeah, you don't really have to, and that's the downside to having your White Mage as your melee carry.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You're just not getting that damage out. And there's a fast from Chaos. White Mage will be fine, probably, because they're fully, rused up. I think that was a miss, actually, from Chaos right there, which is nice to see. 3 hits for 436. We know Chaos is somewhere in the range of 8 grand. Right now, he has about 1,000 damage done to him. And now we're going all melee.
There's the nuke.
Oh, this is going to be
survive
bad.
The nuke. It barely survives the nuke. We're down to 2 mages.
And only about 1,300 damage done.
Yeah.
Crack falls up. Crack is a free turn, but you are going to be spending a long time casting those Cure 3s. Or not, because you're out.
Yep. And with Swirl and Tornado and Inferno hanging out there, I just
the hopper,
don't see this coming.
No, I don't see this happening. There's that Inferno you were talking about. This is a lose-lose proposition for him here at this point. Ice 2 is going to just drop them down to just about range of anything. Got about $2,000 on there, but that's only a fourth of the way for what you need. Get a Cure 3 again, that is not going to help.
I mean, all things considered, these are good hits.
They're fantastic hits. But he's only got 39 health, and Chaos has loaded up spells for days. Oh no!
You hate to see it.
Yeah, that does that right there. And as I see in the Discord, DVS has forfeited.
I can't blame him. I think if he would have been class changed, he continues. But against that Chaos without class change, the only way you're getting through there is to put the mute hammer on somebody other than the white mage and just spam that and whatever cast of mute you have. If one of them lands, you're golden, you win. If they don't...
Yeah, I agree with that. As Reese in chat, or not Reese, Dwight in chat pointed out, we needed a crit loop right there, and he just was not getting it.
Yeah. Vanilla, it's, again, chalk it up to another one of those enemies that in Vanilla was just, I mean, incredible. I think the one thing that Vanilla Final Fantasy did wrong was the health pools. I think that they created quite a monster. They just gave him no health. So any decent levels at all, and you were going to get through them without an issue. Only 2,000 health, but yeah, suddenly you give Chaos upwards of 10,000 health, and you can really see that Vanilla script shine.
It's difficult. It's hard. The game is not kind, and that's kind of part of the way that this game works. Unfortunately, we're not going to have any more music at this point. Will Bloodworth does not have usable music right now, so we are going to be sitting here in the delightful sounds of silence right now while we watch Will Bloodworth finish out this dive. I think, all things considered, Falconic, we should probably see him play it through, see if he manages to get past Chaos or not, and then send people over to his stream if he doesn't get through it.
Oh, it's a fantastic idea. Plus, Will's the kind of guy that loves to put on a show. I don't think he'll mind if a handful of our viewers want to swap over and cheer him on directly.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see him go. That's the floor with the Vorpal on it. If I'm not mistaken, that was about floor 47, 48. We're closing in on where we're going to start to see some of the better weapons. But
hey, we're joined here by DVS. DVS, GG's. That was a rough one, but you gave it a valiant effort.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny because like the first I want to say hour, I was thinking about like how well everything was going. Man, and then those trance sorcerers, like I think I wasted an hour just trying to get back to where I was from that.
Yeah,
So,
they definitely had the vanilla skill of get wrecked.
yeah. What's driving me crazy is where was Bahamut? Like, it's infuriating how long I spent looking for him. Because usually you find either him or the tail, and I couldn't find either of them.
So before I answer your question, and we will tell you, I just want to ask a quick one of my own. Before the race, I had put in kind of averages of where towns and stuff might lie. Did you happen to catch that, or did you not see that?
Oh, yeah, they fit perfectly. It's beautiful. I actually put little grays around it.
Okay. So following that guide, we know Melmond tonight was on floor number 19.
Yep.
And Bahamut was floor 22 with the tail one room away from him.
Interesting.
So... floor 22, there must have just been a path that either wasn't obvious or maybe it looked like a dead end, but actually wasn't. But it was just a few floors past Melman.
Huh. Okay.
You're not the only one that missed it, though. I think a couple people off stream missed it as well.
Yeah, I mean, like that kept me like if I had found Bahamut, I would have had that Opal 5 shield, Opal 5 bonk, Vorpal 3, all on that fighter. I probably would have wiped and gotten Ruse. Like that would have changed this from, like, hey, I know I'm not going to win, I'm just going to fight Chaos because everybody else is already done, to I can probably beat Chaos in a couple rounds. So,
yeah,
it was cool, though. I mean, yeah.
Yeah, I was going to ask, what do you think of Deep Dungeon overall?
I mean, overall, I like it. To me, I'm just a little tilted on the 3 wipes to a 6-pack of trance death touch that I couldn't do anything about. But yeah, no, it's a cool mod. I don't think, like, as much as, like, yeah, I forfeited because it would take me another half an hour to get back to where I was. But yeah, I mean, I think this is exactly what, we wanted for hardcore, and it's a fun mod. Yeah, I mean, honestly, for me, not finding Bahamut was the thing that kept it from being like, oh my god, this is amazing. So
yeah, your instincts were spot on. That first hour, I think, Darkmoon, unless I'm mistaken, we had you number 1. You were out playing Thundercloud
twice. Yeah. And I think if you'd had that class change, you would have beat him. It's just you didn't explore the one floor about 3 up from Melman where it was, and like if you'd done that, you would have had it. I think we probably would have seen you just run right back to Melman to save it after losing it the first time.
Oh, absolutely.
And then been like, okay, I'm good. Let's just roll with it now. I know where all the gear is. I've got most of it already. Let's just do this.
Yeah, well, and that with sorry, I have to find Bahamut. I'm not gonna be able to sleep tonight unless I do that.
422 Northeast.
Yeah. See, I planned out this whole spreadsheet with exactly what directions I have to go to find every single floor, and I keep losing my place. So sometimes that's why I end up wandering. But not like, again, I think it was fun. Like, I'm not, I think like right now, I have no idea where right. No, I like again. I thought it was fun. Like I definitely hit my groove for the first 30-something floors. It's a shame that I wiped to those unrunnable waters my first dive. I think if I hadn't done that, then yeah, even without Bahamut, I probably would have leveled to at least 32. But yeah, again, like hats off to Bert. I think he does a lot more vanilla running, so this was right up his wheelhouse. Ale coming in right behind him, both great runners. So yeah, this was fun. It just didn't work out for me today.
Glad you enjoyed, though.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's always fun, like with these Irongol, especially with a hardcore. We certainly want to throw something at the runners that they're not expecting. I think we did that tonight for the chaos fight. I do have one question for you.
Yeah.
You picked up. You saw the mute hammer. Did you actually pick up the mute hammer, or did you pass it by?
Oh no, I picked it up.
Okay.
I never cast it though.
Yeah, I was going to say, did that ever come or cross your mind to try to get the mute off on Chaos and just take away all his teeth?
You know what? That probably would have been a really good idea. Like it's one of those, like the obscure. Like I think I even picked up mute from Provoca. I just don't know what the percentages were, and so like I think that's
super low.
Yeah.
You really need to have extra land to give it any chance. But when you're, like you said, when you're fighting a chaos with nothing to swing but a katana on your white mage, it was one of those Hail Marys we were wondering if you're going to throw out.
Yeah. I think that would have, like, that's why I kept it. Like I actually walked away from it and then cleared out some items to put it back in. It just didn't cross my mind during the actual fight. I think, yeah, because I was already kind of like, I don't know if I said this earlier, but I not already like known that I was pretty much running last, I would have gone all the way back up to Lefane, saved, made sure I had plenty of heal pots and everything. But You know what? This is floor 20, so I should go upright.
There's a question in chat. Where is Will Bloodworth? We think... Looks like he's done a bit of backtracking, actually. I think he's back down below floor 45. I'm curious as to why.
Oh, this floor.
I know I saw him find Chaos and then walk away from it. I think maybe he's trying to find other gear or recheck things and pick up anything he might be missing.
If he... I was planning on going back and just re-upping my spells. So I don't know if he's going back to Lefane to find an inn to re-up spells. I can't see his feed, but... Oh, look.
So it looks like you're passing your own.
There was a rune sword plus 3.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That'd have been good to swing early.
Yeah. Made a couple things. Wow. There's the tail.
I see. You found the tail, huh? Well, Bahamut's one room away from you.
There he is. There he is. Look at him sitting there. Yeah, I mean, for whatever reason, I think I was like double clearing everything, like up until the 20s, and then I decided like, okay, I just need to focus on moving forward. So, yeah, that was the one. Snuck by me.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. It looks like it was kind of tucked away in a little alley there, but
yeah,
maybe if we run one of these again sometime, I think.
I mean, I gotta tell you, I want to see one of these run again. Like maybe even like make this a slightly more regular feature at some point. I know it's not everyone's cup of tea in the the rando, but then you can look at any flag and someone's gonna be like, "Yeah, that's not my cup of tea." Yeah. It's just the rando. But fact of the matter is that I think this is interesting enough, and it works well enough that I would really enjoy like seeing some of this functionality eventually get integrated into the main rando as an option that can be turned on, just so that we can do a full randoed version of like Deep Dungeon and have it work and have the functionality work with everything. This has been cool enough that I'd love to see it become a part of the rando in general from time to time.
Oh yeah. Oh, absolutely.
I think Deep Dungeon seems like it is perfectly suited to work with Dragon Warrior mode. Unfortunately, It doesn't work at the moment.
No, but long term, if we can get it to work, it would be phenomenal with that. I lost all my progress as far as like how far I am in the dungeon, but hey, at least all those levels and gear I got are still around.
Yep.
Yeah.
I think that would really change the strategy of it too, though. Like,
I think I saw Chaos. I think Will's back at Chaos.
Go for it.
Yeah, well, we're gonna see. He got caught by a vampire pack. We were actually gonna start wrapping up because it looked like Will was diving downwards away from Chaos. But if he's gonna come in here and actually take on Chaos one more time, I think we got to give him the benefit of the doubt and see what he does here with this fight.
Yeah, definitely.
I think what he was doing was looking. I think he was just hoping that he missed some gear along the way.
A Maza or something.
Yeah, something like that. Fortunately,
one of the 3 Vorpals.
Yeah, he got those. I saw him get those.
There's his katana.
There it is. I gotta say, I love Chaos just standing there like, no, that's cool. Just, raid my treasury. I'll just wait. I'm not doing anything.
So, okay.
No,
he's just checking. I think he's gonna do one more sweep of the floor here. I don't know that he had ever made his way into that actual room because he would have had the katana equipped and he didn't. So. Yep.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of cruel that the one spell or weapon that he's looking for, because he needs it for his ninja, is like the only one of it is right there at Chaos.
There's a second one somewhere.
Is there?
Yeah, I picked up
I don't remember seeing it.
I think it was like the floor before, like up in the corner or something.
Oh, Will's exiting again. Okay, if Will's going to exit, I think we're going to wrap this up and send you guys on to hang out with him at this point. We've been going at this for over 2.5 hours, and we need to give Speed Gaming back their channel at this point. So, I do want to thank. Well, I mean, it was us. We did the tracking and the commentary for this. So, myself and Falconic. And of course, Speed Gaming for hosting us for this and letting us do this really wild and weird setup that we had here. Plus, of course, I want to thank our runners, Thunderclad, Will Bloodworth, Burt Reynolds, and DVS, who's DVS7 on Twitch, correct?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay. So yeah, thank them for running, for playing this. Make sure you give them a follow, of course. Want to thank all of you guys for watching this. I am DarkMoonEX, DarkMoonFire on Twitch. And Falconic, do you want to take us home?
Yeah, same things that you pulled out there. I'm not going to go over them too much, but just thank the runners as well. Pink Puff have to give tremendous and particular shout out to Pink Buff, because without that work on Deep Dungeon, we're not here today showing off this hardcore event. So tremendous thank you to Pink Buff for that. And I also want to point out that we have a brand new, bright and shiny Final Fantasy Randomizer website tonight. Tonight, beta got moved to live. Alpha got moved to beta, and we've got something coming up in the works for how Alpha is going to work going forward. But take a look at FinalFantasyRandomizer.com and beta.FinalFantasyRandomizer.com. They both got tremendous upgrades tonight. In the meantime, like Darkmoon said, my name is Falconic. He's Darkmoon. We are going to shoot you over if we can. If we can't shoot you off automatically, we're going to send you over to twitch.tv/WillBloodworth. He will be making a dive here soon, and I'm sure he would appreciate the support. But until then, until we see you guys, thank you so much for watching, and we will catch you on the next race.
Thanks, everyone.